All right, I still got to work on these transitions things. I'm terrible at these transitions. But hi, hello, we're Adventures of Lollygagging. We are playing Worlds Without Number, continuing our little sci-fantasy hex crawl that we started a couple weeks ago and is going to go indefinitely until, something happens. But yeah, we play a bunch of different games on the channel, so if you're here for the first time, thanks for joining us. You can catch us usually Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays where we play different games. We play Alien, we play Things from the Flood, we play Delta Green. Last night we had a fun little one shot with Change Stars, and Saturdays is our Worlds Without Number day. We'll go ahead and dive in pretty quickly, and you can hear what everyone's playing. Other things we should plug later tonight. Our friends, they're in the channel right now. Defenders of Cobalt. You can catch them over on the Goodman Games channel as they're running through America using kind of DCC system. And then, yeah, let's just introduce who we are. Who are you? What do you play? That kind of thing. So
Who are you?
I'm gonna start with Melissa. Oh, look at that! Like Ashley
Yes.
was like, it's gonna be me because my first name's an A. But no, I'm gonna go the other side. Melissa, who are you?
Hi, I am playing Sonenka. She is Sadawan. She is on a quest for revenge. I think the rest of the group has some other reasons why they want to be here. But she is looking to get revenge on Usa, who did some not great things to her younger brother, Petro, I believe. And yeah, my vowed beastmaster.
And we should note that Vald is sort of monkish if you want to
Mhm.
think about it in sort of D&D terms, and then Beastmaster is kind of hunterish and the has a can potentially have a pet and communicate with animals and stuff.
Yep, like a companion.
Yeah, Worlds Without Number has a lot of parallels to, like, if you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder and stuff. There's tons of parallels to it, obviously, but some of the terminology might be slightly different, especially as it relates to classes. So the
And I think
cool
this is the first time I've like multi-classed. So that's cool too.
Yeah, and that's the one of the cool things about Worlds Without Number is that you use there's only four base classes, but one of those is what's called an adventurer, and that effectively is a multi-class. And so there's warrior, there's expert, and then there's mage. But mage isn't necessarily just spell casting people. It's essentially anybody who can do like specialized arts and spells and stuff. And so everyone here is effectively an adventurer multi-classed into dabbling in a couple different things. So you get to create these really cool customized characters. You almost kind of build them exactly as you want them. It's not purely skill based, like where you just grab anything, but you can mash together these wonderful little things. And so we have different combinations. And so on the screens underneath their names, you can see what those combinations are. And then I should also mention that, like, we're playing in our own sci fantasy setting. Our setting effectively is a planet somewhere where a bunch of different alien species have taken refuge for reasons that we'll get into as our campaign progresses. And so we have all these different weird names and stuff like that, but we'll explain it as it goes and as it's necessary. And what's necessary now is for Long to say who the hell he's playing.
Yeah, I'm playing Vice. He's a middle-aged Krastakar. What they are is like a skinless humanoid. They have bone fragments and bone ridges pretty much growing out of them. I've got two big ones growing from behind my head. Look like horns, sort of. Also a blood priest duelist, little hybrid there. And that's pretty much me.
Okay. And like as a blood priest, sort of I guess the healer. Like
Yeah, I've
you're
got
going
a
healing,
healer
right?
background,
Yeah.
so I can do a bit of healing.
Yeah, but you're not like you're not a healer without the ability to kind of rough it up too. Like everyone here is kind of not filling one specific role, but maybe multiple roles, which is pretty cool. And then finally, Ashley, who are you?
Who are you? I'm playing Octavia. She's filling the himbo role. She's our warrior skin shifter, which is an adventurer. I'm the only warrior with a soldier background, which is kind of cool. Because we rolled all of our stuff. Um, I'm Baphomian, so that means I'm like a goat person, but think uh I'm not super goaty. Like from the waist down.
Super goaty.
Yeah, you know.
The scale of
I don't-
goatness.
The waist
don't
down, I'm
win
all
games.
goat, but the waist up,
Yeah.
I'm something else.
I'm
Okay.
just I'm human.
Yeah, little
Um,
little tiefling like, little like little fawn like, little mix of those types of things.
Yeah.
If you've ever,
in my head, it's pretty fun. Like,
yeah, if you ever read Saga, the comic book, kind of like that species. There's like two main species in there, so sort of like that. Yeah, super
and
goaty.
then, yeah, you know, I don't
Okay.
win games.
Yeah,
And then my savage, like I have the art savage talons. So
Mhm.
when I change form, I'm kind of cat-like then. So it gets a little weird.
Yeah.
A cat goat, cat dog.
you have
know?
you have like a crisis of species identity or something. Like, am
I
a
just
goat or a
want it
cat?
all. You know?
I'm super goaty, but I have like hints of cat in me, so yeah, it's pretty great.
I'm a cat person.
But you
Jeff.
haven't shifted yet, have you? You haven't actually used your
Nope.
shifting ability yet. Cool. Might have to
I
happen
think-
here in a moment. Who knows?
Yeah, my health is concerning.
Well, you are the tankiest member of the group, correct?
That's yes.
Yeah. As the
But right
as
now
the
I
only
have
person who
4
dipped
health.
into warrior, you are a little sturdier than other folks.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Okay,
all
you're
right.
like, oh my gosh, I'm down to 4 health, and I'm like, oh yeah, I start with.
You
4
start with 4 health, yeah.
5 health.
Basically like one shot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Like it's low level play. It's kind of OSR-y in the way of like, you don't want to, sometimes you want to avoid fights. You don't necessarily want to just spend your whole day rough and tumbling because like, you guys aren't superheroes, right? We're not.
Yep.
We're not. That's not this kind of game. Not yet, anyway. There's elements in the book that if you really want to play that way, if you want to go kind of more of like that heavily powered, like kind of like a 5e type hero, you can start incorporating what's in the purchasable game, which is like the legates and stuff, which is a different way of playing. We might get to that at some
Okay.
point as you guys level up. But for now, what we're doing like more a little low powered, but you guys have some cool abilities that you can tap into, which is still pretty fun. Fight all the fights. That's true. I'm going to. How many heads were in that giraffe today, Chuck? Because I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw like a 14-headed elephant in here that they have to fight. Just to
What?
on his stream earlier on his watercolors, and warrior stream, he had like a 6-headed giraffe, like a giraffe hydra, like a mixture of a hydra and a giraffe. It was
It
fantastic.
wasn't a goose.
It was fun. No, it wasn't. It was a giraffe, and one of them was like this derpy head. It was a really nice
I love
picture.
it.
You should hit the Discord. He put it up there on the Discord. Hydrif. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like there is like actually a mid tier too. In addition, like to the legates, which are like more super proud. There's like a middle tier with heroes and stuff. Which I was thinking what we might do is over time, as you guys level, you might eventually tap into the heroic. The extra abilities, because we won't go into the details yet, and then as you continue to play, eventually you might tap into legacy, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about what happened last time. So this is episode 3, so we're not too far into it, but you all are various alien species, and you live within a place called Big Husk, which is a silly name given to a fairly enormous megacity or megalopolis. It's just massive ancient alien city that the builders of, the inhabitants of, have long vanished. They have no one knows how or where. The speculation is that it kind of suffered kind of a Mount Vesuvius situation here, right? Like Pompeii, where volcanic activity either destroyed half the city, killed people, something like that. But no one really knows for sure. The rest of you are all here. On the first day of our adventure, a polyhedral object fell from the sky, was under power though, and had like parachutes and stuff, and then destroyed your home as it landed in the city, and just happened to hit these 3 fine people's homes, meaning that they were suddenly homeless and destitute and were looking to do anything they could for money. And lo and behold, they were given a job by a person by the name of Ruvala, who wanted you all to head out into the waste districts outside of the more civilized area of Big Husk to find potentially a military depot from these ancient folk who lived here that had been recently uncovered by some geological activity. And they wanted you to get there first because there was another team that was heading out here that was led by an enemy, so to speak, of Sonica. And make sure you grab these specialized ancient tech and schematics and stuff like that. along the way, you met a few other folks. You had this weird encounter with some strange lake that kind of played bells when bubbles popped out of it. You found a coliseum filled with all sorts of vegetation, a very important find, by the way, that would be of great interest to certain folks back at Big Husk, because mostly the city is like just kind of bland looking place, and this coliseum was filled with grass and trees and fruit and vegetation.
We made a friend.
You made a friend. Do you remember their name?
Stands fast.
Stands fast. And didn't ever communicate with him too much, but you had a friendly interaction at least. Later, you climbed a mountain. You got run over by a giant Raiders of the Lost Ark type boulder that destroyed the cart that you had procured from people that you left to die. And you climbed into the caldera of a active volcanic region and found the depot. And when you got here, Weiss almost fell into lava, like right away, just like right off the bat. And you kind of started moving around and finding a few interesting things in here and there. You found some old bodies of the species that Octavia would know, and like a it looks like some kind of pen light that was like a map and some kind of hilt with a signia on it. You heard voices. You saw a wagon, and as you were exploring, you found this large room underneath a dome that had been cracked, and there's all sorts of rubble in the middle of it. And as you were wandering across the rafters with some kind of big metal machine moving around the area, and ants that are the size of fists eating metal, you heard a door open, and in walks Sonika's favorite person, Usa. And that's where we'll go ahead and start. I'm going to put us on a map so you can see the hex map now. I'm going to move us over to where they're at now so you can kind of see what they're up against. And we'll go from there. So I'm not doing initiative immediately, but the door opens up and you see that there are 3 people who walk through that door. And as they do, you see that, let me go ahead and get a little music going. You see that 2 of them are fairly big folk, like beefy individuals, one of whom seems to be decked in a mask with like kind of breather apparatus. There is some kind of greenish light that's emanating from them, like a shoulder piece that looks to just be some kind of like almost like a flashlight. There's another person next to them who is also fairly large, and they're both carrying weapons. And then you have Usa, who's far more slender and who is kind of wrapped up in different cloths and clothes of kind of dark bluish coloring. But you guys both, the two of the 3 of you had torches or lanterns out. The light was fairly bright on the second level, and they look up and they see you and they say, "Well, looky what we have here." And I'm just curious, what is your immediate reaction?
My name's Octavia. It's nice to meet you.
Octavia. Well, Octavia, it's a pleasure to meet you too. I would prefer if you would take yourself and your friends and please exit our properly acquired salvage. Thank you. Before this kind meeting has to go, a different way.
Yeah, just, did you guys see that weird, like, rabbit thing that's, like, going around?
Rabbit thing? Afraid I don't know what a rabbit is.
Or, like, you know, it's got ears, and it's just charging, or it's metal.
Oh, well, it's automaton. Yeah, we came across it, indeed.
Everything's New Jersey, New York accents on our channel from now on.
And no, I can't think about it because I'll slip into it.
I know, right? It's so easy.
Yeah, we encountered that one. Benign little thing that is, as long as you give it space. Speaking of space,
and you can see now that while this one's talking, this is Usa talking, and you see one of the others. You kind of lose sight as they start moving behind this large trash in the middle. Remember that's a good 20 feet tall. That's huge. You
Okay.
guys are about
Yeah.
15 feet up on a walkway, and that trash pile at its highest point is even taller than the walkway that you're on. So this one starts to move southward, and at a certain point you will effectively lose sight of them in the darkness and behind it. The other one sticks with Usa right now.
So are they individually carrying light sources?
No, doesn't look like they... Well, I mean, they might be. Only one of them was lit.
Okay.
And I would also say that in the room itself, remember that this is a room with a cracked open dome, so there is some starlight coming in, but it's not a whole lot. But more brighter is in the kind of southeast corner of the room. There are those two large, tall tanks with the glowing rocks in them. That's giving some light to that section of the room itself.
So
So-
Ninka is going to look at Vice and make sure that he saw the one kind of moving off. So just kind of the silent, like,
Yeah, I nod that I saw.
Okay.
Octavia, I feel like we've started a beautiful friendship here, and if we want it to continue in such a manner, I think that your compatriots, should bugger off. Understand?
Yeah, I was just curious about the thing. Oh, what's your name?
My name is Usa. Pleasure. You know what they say about curiosity? It killed a cat. I don't know what it means. In my world we didn't have cats, but I assume killing it is probably a bad thing. So maybe
I
stem
thought
that curiosity.
Curiosity meant you get more friends. That's what I always abide by. Friendship.
So as you're talking, you see that there is a little light, a little movement on the corner of the light to the south over by the tanks. Like you can see that like a kind of a silhouette moving in the darkness down there, just barely covered by that bluish light. And so while it's happening, Goose is going to say, "This is your final warning. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to go ahead, lower your weapons, and extricate yourselves from the premises. 5,
while
4.
he's doing that countdown, I would like to see if I can use my Tongue of the Beasts to spend a on-turn action to try to talk to the ants.
Okay. Is there a range or anything on that?
Uh,
Do you have to make
No.
contact with them or anything? Okay.
mm-mm.
All right.
And it has to have fur, feathers, scales, or skin.
Okay.
Does that count?
Sure. Scales would. I guess scales would count. It's like more like a carapace.
Okay.
Oh, we'll let it go. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So you tap
Doesn't
in.
mean I can convince them of anything.
All
but I
right,
can
you
just
tap
try
in,
to-
and you are just bombarded with like an echo of voices. It's just like,
so
it's
you're
like-
gonna just kind of see me
yeah.
be like, oh.
yeah. But yeah, you can hear voices in there, and then everything's sort of primal. They're like feed. So what do you try to communicate to them? And is this verbal or nonverbal?
I just close it and see. It is. This art allows them to temporarily speak as if they had human intellect, though their interests, knowledge, and desires do not change.
We are the ants. Okay. It says speak, so if it's speak, I imagine you have to verbalize this.
Okay, so I'm going to, just because I was kind of holding my head because of all of the sounds, and I'm just going to kind of try to put my kind of hand over my mouth into the wall a little bit and just
Okay.
kind of say,
And
like,
Octavia's
Ping
gonna
where
make
you
a
think
show
the
of us
ants
leaving.
are. Pings where you think the ants are.
they were coming up from here.
Yeah, they're currently, I would say, mostly out of your visual range. Like I think you can slightly from this guy's greenish lantern that he has on his shoulder, you can see that there are some that are looks to be on a metal staircase right behind them. And they seem to, and those are the ones that you feel. So any kind of like talking to your hand,
Oh, so I'm gonna need to be loud about
Project.
this.
yeah, is what I'm
Okay.
saying. Basically,
Okay.
at this point, I don't think you could say anything verbally that Usa wouldn't hear.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say, interesting, all of you being here. So many of you being here. Any chance you're interested in there being fewer people here?
And Uso will talk.
I am quite interested in there being fewer people here, specifically the three of you lot. And I'm down to 3, coincidentally, and now I'm at 2.
Yeah, but I wasn't talking to you. I'm, just
Okay.
at all interested.
So the rest of you, so Octavia, Vice, all you guys kind of hear is almost like white noise, like the sound of, which is, at this point you realize it's like the ants are like literally eating stuff, like in front, in the area. But to you, Sonika, all they're really saying is just like,
Hungry, good, hungry, good, good, hungry, hungry, good.
and then when you asked about like other people, they just say,
People, no good. Metal, good, good.
Guy sure has a lot of metal on him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, oh, right, not too far away. There's quite a bit of metal right there.
New
So,
metal, tasty
Vice,
metal.
you notice as the guy has now kind of in the southeast corner has reached the staircase down here and has begun to ascend it.
Let me slink into the shadows as possible to match him.
Okay. Which way would you want to go? You would know. I mean, if you kind of, if you can, the intensity of like Octavia's lantern is basically covering all of the walkway that you're on and everything.
See if we can back up this corner.
You try to get to the corner? Okay, I'll say you can give it a try, but because of the light, it might be a little bit more difficult. So we'll say roll a sneak, and I'm going to say that you're going to need to hit, just because it's a little bit bright up here and you're kind of obvious. You're going to have to hit a 10 to see if you can avoid the notice of this guy.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
No.
It continues.
Okay, so yeah, we've been having some wonderful rolls. So as you start moving over towards the corner, you hear Usa say,
Okay, that's a one. That other one's sneaking off. Did you see that, JJ? There's one in the corner.
and I think you notice as you're looking down at the stairs that this individual that they called Jer is pulling out what looks like some sort of club that they've unhinged from their sides, and they're ascending onto the staircase at this point. Last thing, you guys can do something. You can see that the one that's got the metal headdress thing is starting to move in the direction of the of that big stack of trash, and is starting to like kind of climb it. And it's possible to climb this to get. It's just not the most convenient way to go. And you see, Usa is still standing there. Last chance to do something. He's at 1.
Are you guys gonna do anything?
I'm just gonna keep saying there's metal close to you.
You do know that they are literally devouring a staircase made of metal. Okay.
That's it. Go ahead, Jeff. Why don't you just smash one or two of their heads in? The one that doesn't can go.
And we're going to go ahead and move into initiative at this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and use this to do it. See if I can get this working.
I want to
Everyone's
see if I can like run over and just push them into the pile of ants.
I'm going to go ahead and roll initiative all for everybody at the same time. This is so exciting. Even with Octavia's bonus, you guys do not get to go first. The Usa's squad rolls an 8. You guys would have rolled a 6 with Octavia's bonus. And then the neutral parties, which are the ants and the automaton that is cycling somewhere around the complex, they're going to go last. The henchman known that's got the metal cage, he's going to go ahead and just start climbing up the big pile of rocks, and you can see he's moving towards He's moving towards the walkway. I'm gonna require a roll for him because it's not the easiest climb, and it is during combat. So, let's see. I think I've got 2d6 plus 1. So all I'm looking for is basically an 8. And with a 6, you see that he struggles and he can't quite. And so he's making progress, but he can't quite get all the way up to where he can pull himself up to the railing. So it's basically gonna take him an extra turn, effectively, to get up. Then I'm gonna have Jer is gonna go ahead and move. He's gonna move over to the intersection on the right here. Let me go ahead and zoom a little bit more so they can see this. So he's going to move up, and I then think he's going to go ahead and he's got a big old club in one hand that he's dragging across the rail, and you hear like intimidatingly, and then out of the darkness Weiss at you, he's just going to throw a quick blade with his free hand. So what's your AC?
11.
11. So 12 will hit then. Are you sure it's 11? I think you might. Do you not have anything higher?
Yeah, I don't have armor.
Okay, then yeah, you take a knife to the arm, and it beds right into your arm, and you can see this throwing blade is now sticking out of your bicep. Take 4 points of damage.
Oh no.
That's their turn, and then Usa. Usa is going to disappear into the darkness behind the pile of trash. And that's the end of their turn. Sorry, it reset for some reason. So next up is you guys. I'll fix the turn order, but yeah, you guys are second. Go ahead. Any order you want is fine.
Is there someone that is visible that I can charge at? I was hoping to charge at Usa, but I'm not sure if I can charge if he's
on a different level than you. So you wouldn't be able. I don't think there's anyone you would charge. And then the guy on the right, Jer, he is a couple turns and stuff. What's your movement speed?
My movement speed.
Remember that every square is basically 5 feet or whatever. So
30.
Yeah. So just you can count out the numbers at that point.
Okay, so for a charge, it's moving twice your normal move in a straight line.
Right, and that's the problem, is that I don't think that you
Okay.
can get there in a straight line.
Okay, then I just want to drop down to where I think Usa went.
Okay. So go. If you just want to drop, you're gonna just hop down.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about a 15-foot fall.
Yeah, I'll kind of do the hang and then drop thing. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can do that. And
Okay.
so you climb over the railing, and you drop onto the ground. So go ahead and just move yourself like right on top of that chain there. We even say that there is a chain, like you could probably parkour down. I don't think it would require too much of a.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that was just. Sorry. It's out of order. I thought I had it working perfectly right before we went live, and then suddenly we go live and not working. So that was Sonika. Octavia or Weiss, one of you can go.
You can go, Ice.
Yeah. Did that knife he threw just stick in me?
Yeah, literally is sticking out of your bicep right now.
Okay, can that be like a sort of instant thing just to take it out?
Sure.
Like,
Just
hang on
pull
to
it
it.
out, and blood splatters all over the place. And you're like, thank you. Because you're
I appreciate this weapon.
okay. Switch over to some combat music.
And then I'm gonna move up to him. I think that's 30 feet.
Okay. So go ahead and move. You have control of your token. All right, you move right up to him. Okay. And now what?
I'll get up in his face here. It's a bit cowardly to throw things. How about a duel? And since you made me bleed, I'll use this.
He looks at you like,
I've walked.
I'm walking right toward you. Now go ahead.
I'll use blood for blood. It's a duelist art.
Okay.
So if I commit the effort here, oh, it's an instant action. I don't think that works that way.
Instant action. I mean, you can use it on your turn if you wanted. Like, it's just a question of what is it you're trying to do right now.
So I use this when he does damage to me.
Okay. So it would have been on his attack of you. Is when you would have used it.
And then my first hit will do the same damage he does to me.
Okay. So no problem. We can say when it hit you and you took the damage, you triggered your blood for blood. And now when you come up on your turn, so commit effort for the scene. So that's what this entire combat is. You won't be able to commit effort in any other way. And as an instant action, when an enemy hits you with a physical attack, which that knife throw was, if you attack the enemy with your favored weapon, which you're about to, before the end of the next round, the first blow hits automatically, so you don't even have to roll to hit, and can do no less damage than was done to you, up to the weapon's maximum. So go ahead and roll damage to see if it exceeds 4. And if it doesn't, then we'll go ahead and just say you do 4 damage to them.
Oh, dagger.
That's pretty cool, Billy.
Yeah,
See, there's lots of
definitely
cool
like that.
abilities like that. Those arts are pretty
Yeah.
sweet.
It's 5.
Okay,
Nice.
so you do 5 damage to him. So as you come up,
Failed
It's
20
AC
roll too.
20.
yeah, you rolled really well. So you come up, and you're using a dagger. So
Yeah,
you come
the bone
running.
dagger.
You hear your feet stomping against the grates of this walkway. Describe how you take this guy down, because this guy doesn't have that much HP either. So since it's an auto hit and since it's 5 damage, that's enough to actually take him down.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm walking up to him on the catway, I'll use my favorite dagger to wipe up my blood, and I'll jab this into his eye socket.
It's his dagger. Or you just jab it into his eye socket? That's just
Yeah.
mean. So he's like, and then he falls down onto the railing. And yes, he is.
Oh my gosh.
He is very quickly dealt with, as he is now.
Wow.
He's not. Doesn't look like he's dead necessarily, but he's still writhing around in pain. His blood is just pouring down his face. He's human, by the way. I should mention. Okay, and then last is Octavia.
I'm just gonna move, I think.
Okay, where to?
I'm gonna go about here-ish. Yeah. Or I can move one more square. I'm gonna hang out about here.
Okay. I mean a move is just one. You can do other things too. You get like a move and an action basically if you want.
I think I want to just. Okay. I will commit to using my change form ability
Okay.
to enact my savage talons.
Okay.
So you guys didn't know I could do this, but you guys watch as Octavia just kind of like does kind of like, you know, that like bro like hype thing where they're like, oh, like doing that kind of nonsense. So as she's doing that, like her hands, her fingernails like extend and grow out into like these like creepy kind of claws, and then she also like her teeth get larger, and
Do you have a third eye in that fork
feline.
still?
yeah, and like obviously I still have my third eye, so boom, that thing pops open, and it's like a big old cat eye now.
Okay, so you're like a cat-like shape now. Is it still like humanoid?
No, I'm just sharper. Like
Oh, okay.
I have talons, claws, fangs, and then
Okay.
yeah.
So you're like a werecat
Yeah.
who's started as a goat person,
Who
and
has
now you're a
who has
werecat.
I still have goat legs.
Okay, do you
in
still have
my
the horns?
In my horns?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I like to think behind my horns I have cute little cat ears now.
Oh god.
so-
Okay. All right. And then you have cat talons,
And
which
I
are the
have
worst
just, like-
talons. Oh god.
just kind of like cat talons, you
Okay.
know?
So you're using change form. So this is the first time we're using it, so we'll just go over it so that everyone knows. Main action, which is what you just committed.
Yep.
Transform into an available alternate form, which you just described. It persists until you die, until you shift into a new form, or you end the transformation as an on-turn action. Your hit points, system strain, and other scores all remain the same in this new form, but in a non-humanoid form, your class's base attack bonus can be no worse than the one listed on the table, so I think it's +1. If your shape is quadrupedal, which it doesn't sound like it is, it sounds like you stayed bipedal, then that would have made your move increase by 10, but you're staying bipedal. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's your turn. So then the next ones to go are going to be the ants and the automaton. The ants are you're going to hear them, Sonika, as they're like,
Hungry, tastes so good, needs salt.
and then you guys hear a stomping of feet somewhere from the north as the automaton is moving somewhere close to this room, but not quite to this room. All right. We're going to go back up to the top of the round. The one that was climbing is going to try to continue to climb. At this point, I'm going to say he gets up, but that's going to be his turn. So he's going to be up here. And then Usa is going to suddenly emerge from... as the minion is now dead. We can get rid of him. Usa is going to chuck a throwing knife up in the direction of where Octavia is.
Rude.
So, okay. So because you're up and because you have a railing, we'll go ahead and give you a little bit of cover. So we'll increase that by like 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the throwing bite. So AC 16. What's your current ACC or your AC? Excuse me.
16.
Okay.
Does it need to exceed?
No, it hits AC 16.
Okay.
Okay. So then that means you take, and that's with the cover bonus, right?
What's the cover bonus is +1?
It's going to be +2.
Oh, then that makes me AC 18.
Okay. Then because of that, the blade comes.
Thank God.
And you see it clink off the railing of the walkway. But
I'm
it was coming
right now.
right at your third eye. It was a perfect throw.
Third eye blind, Jeff. How
Almost.
dare!
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. Because you might fall down off that ledge. Okay, so then next up is... it's out of order again, but whatever. Octavia or Sonika or Weiss, you can go next. Weiss, which one do you want to do something?
So would you say that Usa has seen me from where he just moved to?
Can he currently see you?
Yeah.
I would say he can see your light, but probably can't see you, and you probably can't see him. Everything in the middle here, all this trash, that again is very tall, so it's hard to see. So the only person he really had a throw at, which wasn't a very good one, which was Octavia.
Okay. Then I want to move clockwise around this trash pile to try to come up behind him.
Okay, you have control, so move. You have 30 feet of movement. Each
So-
square is effectively 5 feet, so it's the usual deal.
So I think I can move to there.
Okay. You can measure. You were here. That's 20 feet. Actually, no. You go 15 to here, and then another.
And
You can probably move up 1 more square.
okay. So then I will move to there.
And you still can't see him, I would say. He
Can
is in the
I-
shadows. You would know, by the way, because Sadao and all have implants of some kind. Yours specifically is in your neck, which allows you to communicate with creatures. He has optical implants, which augments his visual cortexes and allows him to do all sorts of different things with his eyes. Could be dark vision, could be zooms, could be enhancing, like enhance, something like that. Who knows? There you go. All right, so Vice or Octavia?
I'll just chuck the throwing knife I got earlier to this guy.
Right there in front? Okay, go ahead.
Like how you're like, you're weak if you throw things. Oh wait, now I'm gonna go do it
You
and show you how it's
coward.
done.
It's cowardly to do that. Go ahead and roll.
Oops, I don't know what I just did.
Yeah. So the range, yeah, you're within, it's 30-foot range, so I think you're good where you're at.
It's 35 from where I am.
So
it'd
you can just
be-
move up, step over the body. Excuse me, JJ. Thanks. Oh, it hurts. I need to see an optometrist.
Wait, I have the wrong thing. So
Just click on the left side. Make sure you click on the basic controls for your person, as opposed to, remember, you just click on the button for the person at the top left. Okay.
it's only a 10.
That is not good enough, as you see this guy's got this big old, like, pretty honking looking, like, rusty scythe, and he's got which has got this big old heavy, like, metallic backside to it, and then there's a blade across the front, and it's got a little light kind of shining in it, and as you throw it, he just swats it out of the air like you just threw a baseball at him, and it goes clinking down to the ground. And that's your turn. Where did you move, by the way? I lost track.
I'm on his body. You can't see him.
Okay. All right, you're right on top. I will go ahead and just move Jer out of the way.
Hi, Jer.
Just move him over there. Okay. So then, Octavia, your turn if you would like to go.
I would like to ready my shield
Okay.
now that we're actually like in combat.
Okay.
And then I'm
So
just
I want to
gonna...
walk through this. You're a werecat
Yes.
who came from a goat.
Yeah.
You have talons, and you just...
I still
wield a
have
shield.
goat feet.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did it for the intimidation factor more than
Okay.
anything at this point.
Okay.
My eye looks cool when it's cat form.
Gotcha.
And so I pull out my shield, and then I am getting kind of ready, because I can't ready an item and attack at the same time.
Yeah, readying or stowing an item / weapon from a backpack
Yeah.
or a pouch is a main action.
Yeah, because I didn't have that ready. So
Okay.
then
So if that
I'm
was
just
stowed, then yeah,
gonna
it would be a main action.
just kind of chill until
Okay. You still have movement if you wanted to use movement.
I move forward a little bit because I want. Yeah, I'll get it in there.
Oh, okay. Right on. Sounds good.
Well, now you're ready.
Okay. So that's your turns. Then the ants will go once more, and you hear Sonika. They're just like almost orgasmically talking about how good this metal is. Like,
So good. Oh, delicious. Moist. Well cooked.
you hear stomp, 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 and as you do, you hear a door open to the north, over by the railing.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and start the next round, and we've got the guy right in front of you, Octavia,
Yup.
who's got this kind of club-type weapon with a blade on one end and a big old metal ball on the other. All right. So you moved up to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Because I didn't want him to be able to attack by.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and use the main action, Shatter Shield.
Okay.
So what this does, I have to be using an axe, a mace, a focus improved unarmed attack. I'm going to say this big, kind of the bulbous head on the back of it will work, or some other crushing or hewing attack, which is what this is. Requires a successful hit roll, and then we do an opposed check. So let me see if I hit first. You don't have cover against this guy, so he's going to go ahead and go. Where is it? Okay. Oh, he does not hit. As he tries to do this, and you just hold the shield up, and it just smashes down. You feel the force of it, but you're able to easily deflect it off to the side, and it comes smashing down onto the railing of the walkway, basically like bending the metal of the railing just a little bit. But he is unable to do anything against you. Let's see. I think. Okay, that's all he can do.
Oh, and then when I did ready my shield, I would have had to put out the torch.
Oh, okay. So we will go ahead and take care of that as well. So no more light coming from you.
Octavia. Yes.
All right. There's still plenty of light up here between this guy and between those glowing blue tanks to the south of you. All right. Us is going to climb up a little bit, but he's not going to try to get all the way up there. And then he's going to throw another knife in the direction of Octavia.
Is he on the same level or not?
I'm
yet?
not going to give him the, because he climbed up halfway. I'm not going to give him the. You're not going to get that anymore. But still, 15 AC shouldn't be enough, as he throws a dagger at you, and you're able to, again, with the shield, it just kind of bounces harmlessly off.
Nice.
All right. So then it's going to be your guys' turn. Octavia, Sonica, or Vice. What do you guys want to do?
I think I am going to just do a melee attack. I do have my weapon readied and I have my shield. Does it hit 14 AC?
That is a miss. But it does
Hold on,
inflict.
let me-
It does inflict shock damage. 1d20 plus 1 plus 2. But it does inflict shock damage to AC 15 or less, which will go through.
Okay.
So his AC is in fact 15. And you do 4 points of shocks. In this game, if you're unfamiliar with the term of shocks, so some weapons will still do damage even if they miss, but they'll do damage to a different AC. And so in this particular case, like, she had a vicious attack. It didn't actually do anything to, to him. It didn't get the full front of it, but it was able to do a little bit of shock damage. You were attacking with your sword, not with your talons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So does that mean you would get the bonus?
That's what I was trying to read
afforded
to see if
by
I can
your-
still get it. Because at first level, these weapons do 1d8 damage. Use either strength or dex as the modifying attribute.
Mm-hmm. But you're not using your talons. You attacked with your sword.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your savage talons, 1d8 strength or dex modifier. And you use punch as the combat skill. So what skill did you actually? So if you use your attack, if you attacked with your sword, and you should have attacked with your melee because it's a short, because you're
Yeah.
attacking with the sword. And then do you have anything in your? So punch actually covers that too. Punch is pretty much anything melee. So plus 1.
Yeah.
I think everything's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
everything's fine.
Cool.
It all works out. So yeah, he does take 4 damage, but that is not enough to do to take him down.
Okay.
But he did. Yeah, you're able to the full force of like your attack manages to like kind of make his like, he staggers a little bit just from the physical force of it, but you didn't really like cut skin or
I didn't
break
like
through.
push
Yeah.
him back at all.
He just kind of he just sort of stumbles. No, you didn't push him back. He's a
Cool.
big dude. This guy is
Yeah.
probably about 8-9 feet tall, and
Oh,
he's
God.
wearing some sort of contraption over top of him. He's quite big. All right, so then Vice or Sonica. Shock did go through. Yeah, shock is she got 4 points. She got 4 points of shock through on him, but it's still not enough. He had enough health to take that 4 points.
His shock was that I'm a cat girl.
He was shocked. You could say she shocked him. Vice or Sonica, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna search this body on the ground, see if there's any extra throwing blades.
Yeah, there were 3, so there's 2 more. He only used 1.
And then I'll move 30 just to be behind.
Okay. Sounds good. And then Sonica, you're up.
Okay. I want to try to do something a little complicated. I want to see if I can.
I enjoy complicated.
I want to see if I can go over to some of the straggler ants that are, not quite on the stairs, but sort of on the side,
Okay.
and basically hold out one of my daggers, sort of like a little treat.
Okay.
See if I can get their attention, and then throw it at USA and see if I can get them to like chase it.
Okay. This sounds like a 2-turn action. So I'll say you go over. You hold out your weapon to see if you can get them
Because they like
onto
metal.
it.
So I'm offering
That's
them
fair.
a treat of metal.
What we'll say is, why don't you roll? Let's see if you can roll a test.
Sure.
Convince, I guess, probably makes the most sense. Roll
that
convince, and I would say, this is going to be fairly small. I'm going to make this only a 6, DC 6, so pretty simple considering that you talk to them, they like metal, so it's really just as long as you don't really make a bad faux pas here.
All right. Would that be... What's the attribute?
So it'd be convince plus charisma.
Oh, shit.
I would say because wisdom is sort of like your survival stuff. If you wanted to use wisdom, I suppose you could because you do know a little bit about them. So I
That's
think you
way
can make
better.
that argument. That's fine.
Appreciate it.
It's weird. It's almost like I'm not trying to kill all of my PC characters. It's like I'm trying to help them. It's weird.
As if. I rolled a 5.
Yeah, you see a couple of them climb up on top of the blade and they start to nibble at it, but they're like, yeah, sour. And they crawl back off. And remember, these things are about like the size of your fist. So like 2 of them climb up and they hop off to get back to that juicy alien metal goodness.
Damn it.
Okay. Vice already went, so we'll go back to the top of the round. It's a good idea. Unfortunately, the roll was absolutely terrible.
Does the machine go?
That is true. Thank you for that. He stomps in. You see this big old kind of almost bronze, not metal, but some other substance, somewhat illuminated by the different lights in the room. Starts wandering in. It's going to come up to this intersection, and you hear weird noises begin to emit from it, like the sound of a modem connecting, like as it looks around, and then those sounds drop an octave, and then they drop one more, and that'll be its turn. I'll say that when you move up and then move away, Sonika, a couple of them will start to follow you, kind of curious, almost like breadcrumbs, but they're not climbing on top, but they are kind of intrigued by like your enticement, and so like, better metal on you, give us better. So if you have something more, have something better for them, maybe they'll do it. Okay, so this henchman guy will go next. Let's see. Well then, he is going to... I think I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I think I'm going to try to shatter that shield. I don't see any reason he wouldn't try to do that.
Okay.
So he's going to roll. AC is 16. He needs to beat. 12 is no good. Yeah. And he is unable. Oh my god, these should have been doing shock damage though. I think I have the wrong weapon in. Yeah, I accidentally put a club in instead of a mace. My bad.
Oh,
Let me check to make sure. A mace. I can't remember if a mace does shock or not. It does do shock. So it does 1 point of shock damage for AC under 18. So it should be a mace.
yeah.
I'm
My
sorry.
AC is 17 with the shield.
So take 1 point of shock. That's my bad. But yeah,
So should I have 2?
Oh, from the first round? No, because
Yeah.
because I did miss the first round too. So yeah, you should have taken 2 points of shock. My bad.
Cool.
Thank you. But you're still able to defend. But as he attacks, you do see that light Vice start to erupt in like a circle around what looks like a moon-shaped head. So when you look at the head of this big automaton, you notice that it is bipedal. The arms are much longer than the legs. The legs are fairly stocky, short, but the arms are at least 3 times longer. And the head is like a quarter moon sort of sloped down, and like there's this huge ridge that comes up like this massive chin. And you notice that right at the top, it just sort of starts to light in a circle around it, and then you see right down the middle of that ridge line of that moon-shaped head, you see more lights begin to come on. And they're like tiny little lights that are about, maybe an inch in diameter.
Oh, God.
Then it's going to be Usa's turn. Because you killed poor Jer. Okay, I think Usa is just going to move to the top of the... Here, he's not going to try to climb. He's not going to try to climb up, so I'm not going to do the skill check or anything with him yet, because he's not trying to get up to the walkway. I think he will throw the last of his daggers down towards Sonika instead. And because he's got a little bit of a range, an elevation, I'm going to go ahead and give him kind of a situational +1 on this.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so reset that. I really like this Foundry thing. So situational +1, just because he's up taller, higher than you, and he's looking down. You've got your lantern out. You're easy to see. This is going to hit AC 13. What's your AC?
14.
It misses. And you see
Nice.
the dagger goes scattering, the throwing knife. Man, I'm rolling like crap. Scattering across the ground. Okay. Then it'll be Octavia, Sonika, and Vice's turn. Who's next?
Yeah, I have no idea what this thing is doing, so I'm just gonna run for it.
You're going to run away from this thing?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to do a fighting withdrawal, and then move, or are you just going to run?
I'm just gonna run.
Okay.
See what happens.
Okay.
I'm gonna do move action and main action to move again, so 60.
Okay. So, move wherever it is you want to move. Okay. Does not seem to do anything to you as you run away from it. But you are now in the darkness, I should say. Let me zoom out a little bit further so people can see more of this. But actually, you get a little bit of light, I would say, from Sonika, but it's still kind of dark up here for you, so you're starting to get a little bit into the darkness. I would say that Usa is visible to you on top of the pile because of the light from Sonika from below and from his henchman up on the railing next to him. So you can see him. So on your next turn, if he's still around, you might be able to do something. Sonika or Octavia? Mecha Gorilla with a moon head.
This is going to make this a bit more difficult to manage. I'm going to offer my lantern as my alternate source of metal.
Okay. That actually seems to entice them. They're like,
Oh, good. Warm.
and they begin to crawl, and you see about 3 of them start crawling around and start gnawing on the metal of your lantern.
So can I now, that I've kind of offered it to them and they like it, throw it at Usa?
Sure, I like this. Yeah, go ahead, and I'll say because you're throwing it up, we'll say minus situational modifier of -1, but we'll treat this like a grenade in a way because it is a lantern, so
Okay.
it might, even if it doesn't hit him directly, it might still be able to like ignite a small area around him.
Okay, so Dex and something?
Call it shoot.
Dex
Shoot is like the all-purpose ranged attack. Punch is the all-purpose melee attack. Okay. I'll say
and were there modifiers to that? I didn't add in anything.
it's fine. With that roll, I'll say it doesn't hit him directly because it's not high enough. But I'll say that the lantern shatters right at his feet, and so we'll say that a bit of fire has started to erupt around him, which is
works.
going to cause himself some problems if he doesn't move from it. And you also notice, by the way, that the ants seem not even remotely affected by the fire. Like, not even... which makes perfect sense if you think about it, because they live within a volcanic area. They come from
Yeah.
below the earth, so they probably are fairly resistant to it. But they're just gnawing away on top of this big pile, which they are... they're
Oh, good. Good stuff up here. Oh, this is the shit.
okay. And then, Octavia, what would you like to do?
So I want to try and You know, like how like linebackers like charge into people and push them?
Yes, I do. There's an ability called Charge in the game. You could try. Is that what
Why
you're looking
are you
to
turning
do?
him, Jeff?
Because I just wanted to make it more sense.
He didn't go that way before.
Well, yeah, I know, but then Weiss just left, so it's fine. Everything's fine. So
yeah.
there is a charge ability in game. It's a special action. It would take up both, but the problem with charge is that it actually requires that you have to move at least 10 feet
Yeah.
before you do it.
So I can't do the linebacker thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna hit him.
Okay. Trying to see if there's anything else you could potentially do. Yeah, I don't see anything else that would work. So, okay.
Well, is there still room for me to do a fighting withdrawal?
I would say unless you're hopping off the balcony, like jumping down, which would be problematic. You're falling 15 feet at that point, because you're doing it in a way that isn't sort of the way Sonica did, which was carefully. Now you're just trying to do it so you're not getting attacked. I would say you'll probably take fall damage, but I don't think you would be able to get past his square. Like you're going through a square either way. Like
Yeah.
They're kind of blocking you. Like you're
That
pretty much
sucks.
sandwiched
Okay.
here.
Yep.
Yep.
Not the good kind.
Not like a peanut butter and jelly.
Nope.
You
This
did
is PB
damage.
pain.
You did damage this guy last time.
I'm gonna hit him again.
You know his AC is higher than Jerjer's.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Do
I
you want me to
believe in
roll
you.
my sword or?
Well, it's up to you. If you're attacking with your sword, roll your sword. If not,
yeah.
then you should roll like your punch using the bonuses of your talons. Just if
see,
you're using your talons,
so-
take your talon bonuses. But if you're using your sword, take your sword bonuses. Whatever those might be.
Dex modifying
Because the damage is different. Because I think the
punch.
sword does D6 damage, and your talons
Paws
do
do
D8.
D8.
So it's
Yeah.
more damage for the talons.
Yeah, I'm gonna swipe at his face with my talons.
Okay, so we'll say
So
free
Scratch
action.
his eyes out.
Free action. You drop the sword.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a free, no problem. Doesn't take up anything. So you drop the sword on the ground, and then you go after his. And now he's wearing a metal helmet, but
Or like his neck, you
Yeah.
know, like if there's any.
yeah, you're trying to
So-
find it. It doesn't look like it's like full plate armor or anything like that. It looks like it's
Cool.
yeah.
So I'm gonna do strength punch. Oh, that 9.
Oh no,
No, that's worse.
that is worse.
Right. Using the strength that has punches combat skill. But they do have a shock value of 2 AC 13.
Okay, AC 13, unfortunately, is below his AC, so
Okay.
he will not take the shock damage. That's a shame.
That is a shame.
We have such great token art that we're getting ready to reveal soon for Octavia, but
Sorry. That's cool.
I feel like we'll just say you have a sister named
Yeah.
what was your cat's name? Helena.
Helena.
We'll
Helena.
just call her yeah. Yeah. Let's just call it that. Your twins.
Is there a reason we're doing skill tests for attacking?
Oh yeah, you roll 2d6s. No, you shouldn't be doing that. You roll a d20.
Oh.
Good catch, Lon. Roll a d20 plus 2.
11.
All right, it's
Still
still not gonna hit.
Still not good.
It's still not gonna hit, but yeah, good catch.
Thank you.
All right, so then the automaton is gonna go. You watch as from what looks like its stomach area, like it's fairly low on its torso, you see as some kind of compartment opens up, and this glowing yellow light just emits on both you in this figure next to you as a beam hits and goes in like a 10-foot line, and it encompasses. It's got a 10-foot radius, and it just sort of spins. I need you to roll a save. You need to roll a mental save, please. Oh, I'm sorry, physical save.
Okay.
He
Oh.
also needs to roll a physical save. Oh, and he failed as well. You guys rolled the same thing. Okay. You feel burning overcome you as if you have had a sudden and intense fever. You get really woozy, and then you collapse unconscious on the ground. The henchman, however, does the same thing as the two of you. You just fall down to the ground.
Oh no.
I'll say that the two of you... well, actually, Sonika, I don't think you would have seen that, but Vice, you would have seen that.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to let the Ambler Ants, who are up by... This is more than that's actually supposed to be up here, but we're going to say that the ones that you threw up in that little fire are actually going to be able to get an attack off on Usa. I'm going to negatively modify it because it's not the full swarm.
Nice.
So I'm going to say that they're going to try to bite. I'm going to give them a -2 since it's just a handful of them. Doesn't hit, but it will do shock damage. So Usa will take a point as he's now starting to get bit by these ants. Okay. And then we go around to the top, and it's that henchman's turn, who is unconscious now. Because Vice moved, so the henchman is unconscious. The minion is rolling around. Usa now sees his henchman has fallen, is standing on top of what looks like some kind of like giant trash pile filled with fire and ants. I think Usa at this point is going to try to hop up onto the railing, and that's going to require a roll to get over onto that. Simple roll. Where is my skills? This is going to be... Alright, 2d6 plus 1. So they'll be able to get up off of... Oh, see? Too big. He's going to get up to here and will begin to, without any daggers now left to throw at you, is going to run off over in this direction. Okay. That's his turn.
Okay.
Then it's going to be Sonika or Vice's turn.
Does he have a lantern on him?
Does who have a lantern on him?
Usa.
Usa does not. Sonika probably hasn't told you this, but I mentioned this earlier. He has optical implants. It's every Sadawan gets some sort of special implant, and his is optical. So you might suspect that he has some sort of ability to be see in the dark.
So I'm wondering if I'm able to see him after he went up.
That's a good point because I was going to run after him, but I just broke my lantern on the ant pile.
Yeah, I would say there's enough ambient light for you to see about where he is, and you probably saw him climb up, and you heard the sound. You would know generally where he's probably going. So you can, and as you start running, you might be able to see him at that point. But if you get up to him and go one-on-one with him right in front of him, like, you're technically in the dark, but I think there's enough light where you can see him. You can see him like kind of dimly.
Jeff, is there something on this trash pile that I could douse with oil and make a torch or something with?
Sure, I don't see why not. I mean, it's mostly metals and stones and some sort of strange like plastics. There's not really any wood here, so roll a luck instead, and we'll see if you just get lucky and that there's something there. So Vice, you can go, or Sona can go in whatever order. But Vice, you would be aware that he was running in that direction.
Okay.
If you tried to throw a dagger in that direction into the dark, towards where you think he is, I would probably negatively modify it by like 2.
Probably won't do that. I think if I remember correctly, there was like a hole in the wall in this direction.
There's a hole in the wall, bottom left corner, and when you walk up to it, yeah, you can see it's sort of, you can get down there without, unless you're trying to like move quickly, you can easily get down there without any kind of roll.
I'll just move through it for now.
Okay. All right, and so you're gonna get down. You're gonna go down to the bottom.
Does it go down?
Yeah, it does. It goes down to the first floor.
Kind of just want to like hug the wall or like the hole to see into the room, if that's a thing.
You wanna hug the wall and do what?
So the other side just leads down. There's like no waiting.
It leads
from, like,
down.
outside.
It's a broken wall that leads down into a hallway. You guys traveled actually through here when you first climbed up to this level. It's not supposed to be
see.
here. It's just the wall has partially
I see,
crumbled.
okay.
You know what's down there. Like you know that there's just rubble, and then you could potentially go into the western rooms where those lava pits were, but that's about it.
Okay, in that case,
They were weak to golden shower. Damn it, Told to Twitch. That's the name of the ability.
I'll just move back and wait in the dark.
Okay. So are you? So you actually literally moved up and then ran back.
Yeah,
Okay, fair
because
enough.
that's 30.
All right.
I can still throw a dagger, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
And -2.
Yeah, it doesn't. It'll,
No, it doesn't. Like you hear it clatter against metal or against the wall. Doesn't seem to hit. Okay,
So
Sonika.
I rolled my luck. There's nothing.
Yeah, you didn't find
then
any
I'm gonna be
wood,
able
anything
to-
flammable, nothing like that.
Okay. So then I just want to try to climb up and move after him.
Okay. If you want to try to get all the way up to the railing on one turn, you have to roll an athletics test there to climb up. So, sorry. Specifically, roll exert
Strength or dex?
strength.
Okay.
Because you're pulling yourself up. Okay, that's okay.
7.
Yeah, so you can get all the way up to the edge. Since you're coming from the floor and you're not already up, you can get, that's your whole turn is to come all the way up onto that.
Okay.
Okay.
Did the ants do anything when Uso ran away?
Yeah, they did attack him. They just didn't really do anything. But they didn't
Okay, they didn't
actually.
follow him or
They didn't
anything.
they didn't follow him. No, they were just
Okay.
he was here, and so they just snapped at him. Okay. So that's gonna be then the ants will continue to chomp away. The automaton, you notice. I'll say Vice in Sonica. You can see this. Reaches down, picks up both of these individuals, Octavia and this henchman, and then starts turning around and then starts walking in this direction. So we're gonna move over here. Also, Octavia, also the henchman, as they are moving away with you, with the two of you. Okay.
Dead.
oh boy.
Sonica, you can go. Sonica and the guy can go ahead and make a another save to see if you at all become conscious.
Octavia.
I'm sorry, Octavia. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't. What?
Make a physical save to see if you wake up. The henchman is still unconscious. Okay, you wake up, but when you do, you feel yourself. You feel like a clamp around your leg, like this firm clamp, and you are being dragged across the floor, like you by your leg. And you look over to your left, and the henchman that you were fighting is also being dragged across the railing. And you look up, and there is this like 10-foot tall automaton that is dragging you away into the darkness.
Okay.
So on your next turn, you'll be able to take an action. Henchman is out. Usa. Oh man, I'm gonna roll a morale check for Usa. I think.
He's all by himself.
I don't know. Yeah, he's all by himself, but like he sees you. Hmm. I feel like it's the prudent thing for him to get out of Dodge. I think he's just gonna run. I think he knows well enough to. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So he's going to. Yeah, he's going to run. You hear a door open as he disappears into the door.
All right.
And then on a different map, I am currently missing. Oh no, he's back. Just kidding.
He's like, I'm gone. Psych.
That should
Let
be.
me throw something at you first.
Okay.
And then I'll go.
So then it's your guys' turn.
Sonica's
Octavia,
gonna run after
Sonica.
him.
Okay, go ahead and move your full complement of movement.
I'll run after Octavia, see where she's going.
Okay.
Where the golem's taken.
All right.
Can I
So-
move double movement if I run?
Yeah, you can go
Or
ahead
is
and
it
move
just single
yourself.
movement?
Yeah, that's your whole turn, basically.
Kill him.
I basically get to there.
You get to the door.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Then Vice is going towards where Octavia is. It's always a good idea. And Octavia,
Yeah,
you
it's
have
dangerous.
a leg. Your leg is now clamped in like a vice grip by this guy's arm. What do you want to do?
I don't know if I want it to know that I'm awake yet.
Okay, you're just gonna sleep.
Awesome it out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let it keep dragging me for
Okay, that's
a
fine.
little bit.
Oh, that's fine with me. I have no problem with it. Okay, top of the round. Actually, wait, no, it's gonna get to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, it's gonna move right past Vice, down the stairs, past this glowing stuff. So he's actually on the first floor here, even though it looks like he's on the second, and he is dragging the two of you with him. So you've seen him just completely ignore you, Vice, as he's just stomps right past you. And then we'll go to the top of the round. Henchman gets another save. Let's see if he wakes up yet. He's finally awake, and he will attempt to thrash. I guess he'll try to just thrash around. So I'm gonna make this a DC 10 for him. So to try to break out of this, and he is completely and utterly impotent and unable to get out of this as he's just hacking away at it. He doesn't have his weapon anymore. Your shield, anything you were carrying was dropped up above, and so he is just smashing away with his hands, and he can't seem to break it free. Then Uso will continue to run off screen. Okay. Uso's turn has now been concluded.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll be your turns. Octavia, Sonica, and Vice. What do you want to do?
Sonica's gonna keep running after Usa.
Okay. The door, you busted the door. Okay.
Okay.
So you come up here, click on that, and it'll take you to where you are. You've been on this floor before. It's the second floor of this building. You look left and you look right. You do not see any immediate signs of Usa. What do you want to do?
I will go. I'm going to 50-50 this. 1, 2, 3 left. I go right.
Okay. So go ahead and move the complement of movement that you want to move.
Alright, so... Wait, where am I? Can you move me where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah, don't click on the icon for the stairs. You gotta make sure you. Yeah. All right. So there's a little icon for the stair. Make sure you're not touching that.
Okay.
Alright, go ahead and move yourself, because it'll just teleport you back to where you want to go.
Okay, yeah, I don't see myself. Can you just move me to the right?
No, just scroll your screen to the right.
No, I see the second floor. I'm just not on the second floor.
Yeah, you are.
Not on my screen.
Scroll your screen to the right, and it's there. Move. It's all the way over. There's a whole second map on the right-hand side of this. There's a very big map. You can look at the overlay for Twitch if you want to see. But yeah, you're there.
So I'm here.
There you go. Okay. All right. Then Octavia and Vice. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna run, try to keep up.
Okay. So you're gonna run downstairs. You're gonna try to keep up. So go ahead and move yourself. All right. No problem. And then Octavia, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna claw at it.
You're gonna claw at it. Claw at him, at the automaton, or at trying
Yeah.
to like unclamp yourself.
Trying to like unclamp myself.
Okay. Begging for a right swipe. Oh, that's a funny joke. So you're trying to unclamp. If you're trying to unclamp yourself, and you're trying to like cut away at it with your talons, we'll say you can do. That sounds like you're trying to like either. I would say you're using strength maybe to try to pry it free, or does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the way, it's stab that you use swords with, not punch. I got that wrong before.
Cool.
But you can do, if you're just trying to like pry yourself loose, roll exert with strength.
Okay.
You need a DC 10.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not impossible.
Damn it. 9.
Yeah. So close. And you even have +2 on that, so that's like you have a decent shot of getting this. But you are unfortunately unable to move. You can shout, you can talk, you can do whatever you like, but that's your main action. But if you want to do any sort of shouting or something, you can probably look around and see Vice is trying to chase after you as well.
Yeah, she's like yelling, but like she's also, excuse me, Mr. Automaton, sir. I apologize for getting in your way. If you would please accept this formal apology.
Okay.
And like that's what you guys hear as like Octavia's getting dragged along. She's just like, please, Mr. Automaton, sir.
I want that to like work, but it's not going to. I really do. It's true. It only understands Jersey. It's like, hey, you guys, what we doing? What we doing here? Why are you dragging me? All right, Vice, you kept up, and that's the end of your turns. He'll continue moving to the western side of the room to about there. And that's the end of his turn. Ants aren't doing anything special. We go to the top of the round. Usa does something off screen. No one can see it. The henchman will try to break free. So this is 2d6 plus 1. Needs a 10. Still completely and utterly unable to break free. And then we go to you guys. Vice, what are you doing? Sonica, what are you doing?
I'm running through this door.
This golem was made of metal, wasn't it?
It doesn't look like metal, but it's some sort of substance. It's some sort of hard substance. It's reflective, but it didn't look metal to you. You run into this door. You go inside there. Roll a notice. I see that, Ashley. We'll get to that in a sec. Melissa.
Intelligence or wisdom?
Wisdom. As you look around for hiding places.
3.
You swear you see Usa hiding beneath a stray piece of metal the size of your fist. But you go inside and you do not see Usa in there at all.
Okay.
All right. And then I see that Octavia has tried to break free again, and with a 14, you do in fact you pull the metal free, and you're able to quickly pull your leg out, and then it clamps shut completely. What would you like to do? You're prone, but you still have your move action, so you can get up, you can crawl. What do you want to do?
Can I run?
You are.
I would have to get up. Okay,
you have to
never
get
mind.
up first. Yeah.
Then I will. Ooh.
I will ooh.
I'm
I will
so
ooze
nervous.
confidence.
I'm scared.
Yeah, so you can stand up. You can also crawl, which is basically like, we'll say half your movement you could crawl away.
Okay, yeah, I would like to crawl.
All right, go ahead and crawl in whatever direction you want. North would be climbing up the stuff, though, so probably eastward, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm gonna head towards Vice.
She's not actually on the catwalk Skizax. It's just I don't have the tiers. She's on the first floor.
Okay.
So just remember that. Like you're crawling towards Vice. Vice, did you move yourself?
Yeah, it was chasing me.
Okay. You get right up to Octavia. Do you do anything?
Could you please first aid? Or not yet.
That takes
I don't
time.
know.
As an action, can I like pick her up?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, you just grab her by the shoulders and you pick her up. So you won't have. So you are no longer prone, and so on your turn next time, you might be able to run at that point. Okay. On its turn, it it looks at it like kind of. You see its head, that moon-shaped head, look over at you. You see it kind of flash some lights, and then it turns its head back. It moves in the direction of these large metal canisters over here. And you see it open up a door. And there is this interior, this orange interior of some sort of material. It could be plastics of some kind, plasteel, you don't know. But you open up, you see there's just a little platform in it. And there's all sorts of these little lights and sockets inside. And it's going to go ahead and push the guy into it and close the door. That's its turn. The ants are like, this is so good. Oh, God. But you can't hear them anymore because you're in a completely different room. Top of the round, the henchman is going to try and completely fail at getting out of this because he's no longer able to. USA does something. We no longer see it. And then it's now back to you three. Octavia, you're up off the ground. Vice, you are next to her. So the two of you are right next to each other on the first floor. You just saw this automaton open the door to this huge like container of some kind and just shoved this guy into it and closed the door. The guy is screaming, by the way. You hear, help me, coming from inside. And you'd have no idea where Sonika went. So Vice, you would have seen Sonika run off to chase Uso, but you haven't seen her.
Mm-hmm. Is it the canister that you got put in transparent?
There was. It looked like there was some sort of portal, you can look through, but you can't see it as the automaton's in the way.
All right. I know the general direction Sonenka ran to, so
Okay.
we'll run towards there.
All right, so you're running back upstairs. Octavia, go ahead and you guys can move yourselves up to the catwalk. Sonika, what are you doing up on that second floor now?
I'm gonna go back to try to go out this door here.
Go ahead and click on the stair button, and it should automatically transport you to a whole new world. Okay, just make sure be careful with. There you go. So now you're back. And when you move yourself, make sure when you're hovering over yourself with your cursor, make sure it's like the green line or like green or orange lines around your whole body as opposed to the tiny little button. Sorry, the layering is kind of clunky. But you open up the door. You do not see Usa. Illuminated by the blue tanks to the southeast, you see your two compatriots hurriedly running up the stairs.
I will run after them.
Okay.
Usa went this way. I'm trying to find him.
Okay. So you run after them. So you move to what, like a few feet down into the middle of the walkway? You clicked on it again, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. And suddenly you were there. Okay. On the automaton's turn, you see it begin to, with its hand, which only has a few digits, begins to pulls down a lever, and you hear, and then nothing but silence as this mechanical, mechanical grinding sound as some sort of machine that tank is attached to was just activated.
Oh, Octavia, I'm so glad you were.
Okay. What do you guys want to do? The automaton, by the way, after doing that, turns and doesn't turn towards you guys, turns towards the door. So you can see it kind of, I'm going to rotate it like this. Look at me rotating it like a pro. And it just starts to a couple feet. And it's not coming in your directions. I'm going to say we can drop initiative order at this point, and we can say, because nothing necessarily is, we don't have to track any of that at the moment. But, not saying danger is out, but now you guys can kind of work together to do what you want. What do you want to do?
I would like to find where Usa went to. How are you guys looking?
We're beat up, but safe for now.
Do we want to head to like that hallway, that hole in the wall where we know the automaton like can't really get into, and like maybe get me some first aid?
Yeah, we can find a little spot to rest up at.
Okay.
Okay.
So where do you want to go? What room do you guys want to go to?
The hole.
Hole in the
Do
wall.
we want to go in the hole, or do you guys want to head towards where Usa is? And because I don't think it goes into. Does it go into rooms? I didn't go over there.
You're talking about in this big area you're in, the southwest corner. There's the hole in the wall that drops down to the first floor. Octavia, you fell down it actually when you
I
were.
leaped
Yeah,
down
you
that.
leaped
Yeah.
and you tumbled down the rocks. You know that on the western side of the building, there were a couple rooms. You found like the bodies of some Bathomian brethren. You found
Oh,
these
yeah.
strange, like kind of almost greenish computers that gave off a light. And you also found a bunch of lava pits that Vice almost fell into.
Yeah. Yeah.
On
I
the
think we'll
second
head
floor,
back.
there was that one room that looked to be empty that Sonika you have just come from. And there's still parts of this place you haven't explored.
So the question is, how much do you need a rest before we go after him?
Let me see the healing rules. First aid is spending a few minutes.
A few minutes, yeah.
So
1d6
are we going to
plus heal
continue to
skill.
chase after him? Because I think we should try and get to the cart. Because I wonder if they have already harvested things and got them on the cart. Because it has like pack meals and stuff.
Okay, so we can find our way out of here then, towards that.
Okay. So
So Ashley, you're good to go without first aid. That's the question.
I mean, if you want to head ahead towards the cart, and then if he can give me a little bit of first aid. Unless you want to wait and just all move together.
Let's just do the first aid, and then
Okay.
we'll move.
you don't want to split the party?
No, I feel like we just skip first aid and just go.
Okay.
No band-aids.
As long as
for
I
Octavia is
don't
good
want
with
to.
that.
Okay.
I don't want to. But
Alright.
I mean, do I still have 4 health, or did I get reduced to 0 when I went down?
No, you literally just got knocked unconscious. It didn't do any damage to you. It just like it kind of
okay.
scrambled, it like sort of scrambled your brain. It like overheated you, and you literally just passed out from whatever it was that it did.
Okay, yeah, then I'm okay if we go.
Okay.
Okay.
I would eventually like first aid.
Okay. So you are in this large room. You know that there are 2 doors on the northern side that go to the second floor, which is above the entrance to this building. You also know that there's a set of double doors on the first floor that you haven't gone through yet. But you do know that the automaton at this point is and it just kind of, while you guys were talking, working it out, you hear the as the doors open and it moves outside into it.
I think we want the most efficient way back to the cart that we're aware of.
Okay. You know the cart was tied up to a column outside the front of the building. You know that the front of the building is to the north. So you would think that any direction taking you north would take you towards the front entrance. The state of the first floor entrance you don't know because you haven't been there yet. You were on the second floor, and you know that there is that broken stained glass window with all the fancy colors and the circuitry inside of it that was partially broken. You could potentially climb out of that. There was a kind of an overhang over top of the columned entrance area that you could potentially climb down on top of and then hop down to the ground. That's a place you could go. Or it's a matter of going back the way you came, which is braving the lava pits
Yeah,
again.
let's not do that.
Or it's going into the first floor towards the front of the building, which you haven't explored yet, which is where the automaton just went. Those are the 3
I
options.
might say do
you
that
basically
because
know.
it's going to be not having to climb down and risk falling. And we think the automaton isn't like chasing you or anything.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so you guys then, I'm going to go ahead and just move you guys right now since we're out of combat, so I can reveal bits and pieces at a time. So you're going to go through the double doors on the first floor of this room.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me go ahead and move you, open these up, and then one by
Oh, that's
one,
cool.
I'll slide you out into there. Okay.
Yeah, because I've come here. I've been up to here.
You've been to that intersection, and you saw a little bit further down is where you heard the voices in this direction, where I just pinged.
Yeah.
So a little further eastward. And that's where you've had first... oops, I did not mean to open that up. That's where you first had a glimpse or the idea that they were here, other than the actual card itself.
Where do we hear the automaton at?
Off to your left, you hear... Tush, 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 tush.
Okay. So then if he's to our left, I'll probably, like, head right a little bit.
Okay. So I'll go... I'll say for exploration, I'll probably just move you guys just so that we're not going too far, so I can, like, reveal little bits and pieces at a time. Okay, so what you see here looks like an ornate entryway, or at least the ruins of an ornate entryway. There's sort of signs of what looks like stone statues of some kind, broken columns, very ornate carved entryway, like tiles of some kind, that look to have faded coloring design, like a mosaic. Up ahead, you can see to the north, there's a set of double doors. These double doors look to have been barred from the inside. So you actually see that there are what looks like something has been barred there. With your light, you can see that there's a door to the east. If you're looking at it, it's on your left. And then the hallway continues off into darkness.
Is there anything in this room that's wood that I can light up a torch?
No. Actually, when you look at the door, no, actually, no, that wouldn't be wood either. No, you don't. You don't see any wood. You would know, by the way, that wood is not a in the Waste District is not a common resource. That's
Are
why
there windows in the door?
That's why discovering the Colosseum that had all of that vegetation was such a huge find, because any wood that's really gotten is either from bramble country traded for to the north, or just some random sporadic forests that are off of the Waste Districts and off of Big Husk. Your question, are there windows in the door? It does look like it has the same kind of stained glass that was in the second floor. This doesn't seem to be broken, but it's also only tiny little portholes here and there, not very big. It doesn't seem to be illuminated either.
I want to try and unbar the door.
Okay, that's easy enough. You go up.
So
and
we
you
know he didn't
unbar.
go out the door because it's still barred.
Well,
From
we
the
know
inside.
he was on the second floor to our knowledge, so he could have gone out the window. We just want to get vision on the cart to make sure he's not already at the cart.
Fair point. Okay.
Okay, so I don't have the outside, but you will say, for the sake of it, you move up, you open the doors, you look out. Oops, I gotta unlock them first. You look out onto the opening, the street. Like there's a kind of what's it called, like a walkway, and then a couple steps. You can see that the cart is still there, and there's like these shaggy-looking mule creatures. Like a cross between a sheepdog and a mule.
Can I go inspect the cart, like, to see if they actually have anything on it already or not?
You step out, and you can see that there does seem to be some salvage that has already been put up here. It's it's a larger wagon than the ones that you guys had when you took from the Nindarians, but this definitely seems like just a first pass. You also don't see any signs of supplies. Like you don't see food, you don't see like sleeping bags, you don't see water. Nothing's in here. It looks like it might have been emptied out, but there are a couple pieces in here, like these big pieces of scrap of some kind. It's like metallic plastic like scrap that is fairly prized by those who work at the manufactory back in the Big Husk.
So it's probably not what we're trying to get here. Maybe they haven't loaded it up yet.
You would know it would be valuable if you took it back. It would certainly be valuable. But you were specifically, they wanted you to specifically try to return either with functional machinery is the best thing you could come back with. Short of that, non-functional machinery and schematics of any kind, if it was possible.
And
to
we
find
found schematics somewhere.
You did
already.
find. You found.
We have the little
The projector thing.
the projector thing that has schematics on it.
That's actually a good point. The cart is wood, so if you wanted to break the cart, you could then
No.
light the cart. Yeah.
We had that laser pointer that was schematics, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't
Yeah.
so much a schematic as it looked like a floor plan layout of a location. It didn't look like a machine necessarily. So, and you can just flash that up against the wall, and you see this large sudden display, and you can see rooms. You can see what looks like electrical, like kind of an electrical blueprint. It's almost like you're reading a blueprint.
Is
Is
it
that
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Jinx? Is it this blueprint of this
Yeah.
building?
I think I'm not sure if we did a roll on that last time. I think we did, but
I felt
no,
like you said it wasn't.
yeah, it's too big.
Okay. Okay.
Because you start moving it up, and like as you start rotating the light, you just see more and more. Whatever this,
Oh shit.
it's huge. And this depot is not small by any stretch, but it's not nearly as big as this. You see more. You see more than 2 floors.
Yeah.
Did I look around for any footprints in the snow? Or was there
Snow.
sorry, not snow, just footprints on the ground. Just to see if
Would you
In the
like
ash.
to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll. Notice whiz is fine.
6.
Okay. With a 6, yeah, there's footprints here, but they're kind of moving in various directions. You're not sure how. Some of them seem a little old, and it could just be when they originally got here and like they were maybe unloading and loading stuff up onto the wagon. It doesn't give you any indication that anyone's been here recently.
I'll head back inside then,
Okay.
and like I want to check out that room.
All right. So when you move up to that room, you notice that it's not opening. It's locked or it's barred in some way, and it doesn't seem to open.
Break that open.
Yeah. Can we try and break the door down?
Yeah. What do you want to do?
Strength exert.
Yeah. Like try and like
Run shoulder.
kick it in. No.
Do you want to run and kick it in?
No. I want to just keep kicking
She
at
wants to
it.
kick it in. I want to run at it with my shoulder.
Well, one of you decide.
I'll let you run.
Okay.
If that's what you
So,
want to
Annika,
do.
you want to run out with your shoulder, roll an exert test. I was going to say I was going to give you +2 if you were going to do a run up, so that'll be an 8, which is enough. You burst through the door. You knock it clear off its hinges. It hangs off to the side, and you go stumbling in. The problem is that as you go stumbling in, you notice that there have been some kind of like spikes have been set up
Oh shit.
because it looks like this was a place where Usa and his minions were camping, and you go smashing directly into them. You're going
My
to
vengeance
take
got the better of me.
you're going to take 2 points of damage
Okay.
as one of these like kind of stone, like they're these strips of stone and rebar, and you just right into one of them. Your side pokes into you. It doesn't quite get too deep where it like breaks anything, but it certainly broke skin, and you are bleeding from it. But when you look around, this definitely seems like where they have been camping. Like they have been holed up here. There is even a small little area where it looks like they set up a cook pot and a fire. It's not burning currently. There's a couple bedrolls. There's a couple bags. All those types of.
Is there a lantern?
Is there a lantern? Roll a luck test. Just roll luck to see if there's a lantern. No, there's not. There is not. You do, however, find that there does appear to be some pieces of wood that they were using to burn, and some charcoal.
Yay.
But they're not very big pieces, so this probably wouldn't last very long. But it looks like mainly the fire was like from some sort of. Yeah.
I'm gonna hold it in case I need a torch at some time in
Sure.
the future when I'm not with other people.
I'm assuming one of you has lights on. Octavia, I think you had something.
Yeah, I have another torch.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you start you start going through stuff. There's like you can find things like there's food here. Like if you guys wanted to restock, you can get like a couple rations and things.
Okay.
If you wanted, you can take 5 rations of food. and 4 rations of water you can split between you all, as there's food here. They're basic supplies.
There's nothing else here.
They've got bags of stuff, but when you look at the bags, it looks more like supplies for like tools. So like hammers and chisels, pry bars, things like that.
Okay, cool. What's down like this way?
Okay. So you move in that direction and you come to a hole in the floor. And when you look down into this hole, it is darkness as far as you can see. Your torch would give about 30 feet radius of light. You hold it over the edge and you do not see a ground. You see a fairly jagged black rock wall as it goes all the way down. Off to your left, you can see that there is a cave-in, a wall to the north, but slightly behind it, you can definitely see that there's a staircase, but you don't think you can easily get to it. Off to your right, you see what looks like a hallway. It looks like it mirrors the western side of the building. But there's also this intersection. It's just this big old hole. And it's potentially passable, but it's careful. You have to be careful. And again, there's no clear bottom to it.
Octavia's gonna nope out of that.
Okay. And you're going to throw Vice down. Got it.
And Nico wants to just listen
Okay.
for footsteps or any kind of sound.
Roll notice. Whiz again. Let's see what you hear. I think you just cannonball down.
6.
This camera. Tool to Twitch is asking the right questions here. Do those hammers wooden handles? The answer is no. They have metal handles. And they have like the hatchet backside. I love those types of hammers where you get the smash in the front and you get the blade on the back. You hear the sounds of automaton footsteps above you, muted, but that's it.
Did we look in this room?
No, you have not. Okay. So you head back to the other room that flanks the entrance. Okay. When you go up to the door for this one, it doesn't seem to be locked, so it opens fairly easily. And there is a horrific stench that comes out of here. Just like, oh, God, what is that? When you peer inside. When you go in, you can see that there's all sorts of like animal bones, fallen rocks, debris. It looks like some animal at some point had taken up a nest within here. It doesn't seem to be here now, or probably too recently, but you do see tons of droppings of some kind of creature that was here.
Anything else in that room?
No.
Is this a hallway? Did this hallway continue forward, or did it end in a dead end?
You have been to that hallway before, and you know that in the intersection of that hallway, there was one of those eruption chutes for the ambler ants.
Yeah.
And you know that there's all those green shoots that come up that they agitate, like they're kind of deep beneath the earth, and they agitate with their toxins, and then they kind of just like surf it up a bit because it just rapidly fires up to the surface. Don't worry, the automaton actually isn't here right now, but you do see a staircase going up to the second level.
Okay, and what about this room? Because we haven't been into that one, right?
When you open the door, you realize that this is the section of the building that you came in on, but you didn't go up to the northern room itself. So,
yeah, because we went down to like this room down here.
Yeah, so you kind of came in a different way. Let me move that over a little bit. When you look inside, you can see that there's that large like lava pit extends here. You also notice that there's droppings in the corner of a different size. You notice something kind of peculiar about the walls in this room. when you step in, you don't have to get too close to the lava, but you notice that the walls themselves look to have circuitry in them, and they seem to connect to empty sockets. These what looks like multi-sided, like octagonal sockets all throughout the walls.
Okay.
Roll a notice whiz as well.
Oh, I lost my character sheet.
Anyone can do this, by the way. If anyone goes inside, you're welcome to do this. DC 8 on this.
Got 3.
Okay. Octavia, you notice that there is something moving, like when you peek very carefully over the ledge from a few feet away of the lava, you can see that there's something moving up and down the walls of the pit. And you realize there's these tiny little, like it looks like the rocks are moving. Like they're just, these tiny little rocks are moving. And you realize there's like legs sticking out from underneath them.
Are they the ants?
No, these look much smaller. Ants themselves are like the size of a fist. These are literally like that big.
Okay.
But it's very peculiar, and some of them, they're not even rocks. They almost look like gems. Could be. You know, we're a little money. But then
yeah.
that means
In the lava.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing out your options. You know, in some parts of the world, dried droppings are used for burning food.
So many options.
Singularly focused on making sure we get that fire going.
Light
for
source.
torches. I like it.
Need a light source.
What else are you doing?
Can't explore without a good light source. Are we gonna try to grab one or two?
I'm
go ahead.
not.
They are in fact.
Oh my
tiny
god.
rock
How do we get
lobsters.
it?
They are. That's actually. That's what I have in my notes tool to Twitch. I have tiny rock lobsters, gems on their backs? Question mark.
Melissa, are you gonna try and get a rock lobster?
I'm more focused on finding Usa first. I might come back because we want to get a microscope before we leave.
Okay.
So I might come back here
I want
before
to
we
point
leave.
out, by the way, you guys have been carefully searching.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
if you're focused on finding Usa, it's been a while since you've last seen Usa. We're not talking about like 4 or 5 minutes. We're talking about a while. Like, we're going through this pretty quickly, but like the act of searching rooms thoroughly takes a couple minutes. And things like
yeah.
that. So,
It's been like an hour at least, right?
yeah. So, unless Usa is like hiding in a room somewhere, you don't know.
Yeah, with all searching, I'm just gonna take a moment to first aid myself.
Okay. Where? It's
Back
important.
in that camping room.
Okay, so you're back into their room. Okay, you can go ahead and move yourself. Octavia and Sonica, what are you doing?
If
so
Vice like
fucking
mentioned he's
novelist.
gonna give himself first aid, Octavia's like, yeah, the rock lobsters will be here. That sounds. Do you got like extra? Do you have like band-aids, like with the cars on them?
Do you have
That
any
would be
hydrogen
cool.
peroxide?
Pretty
thirsty.
thirsty. Extra, but I can help you out.
Okay, so
I guess Barbie band-aids work.
are we taking a second aid? Are you taking some time in here to heal?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead and do it. Sonica, at this point, your compatriots have locked themselves within or put themselves in a room and are healing themselves up. What are you doing, Sonica, while they're healing?
I guess I might just try to do the same thing because
Okay.
we're
All right.
all down. I don't know that it's gonna do much, but
Okay. So, you do your healing, do your rolls, and then time will
This is for
pass.
me. This is for Octavia.
Okay. Octavia first. What does it look like, by the way, Vice, when you
Yeah,
do
pull a
this?
little pack. Got a first aid kit. Got various herbs and oils in there. We just started rubbing them. a paste and apply it directly to the forehead.
Okay, fair enough. And your headaches go away. It's so strange. All right.
Apply directly to the forehead.
So
I forgot. If it's already been an hour, then I just get my 2 back because of.
I didn't say it was an hour. I just been some time. So it's been like
Oh.
20 minutes, half an hour or so. Like it's not been like 5 minutes since you last saw him.
Got it.
But after this, like first aid is like maybe 10 minutes. So it's not.
Yeah.
But he's got to do it for 2 different. Actually, I think it's 10 minutes for both. Like you just assume that it happens.
Yeah, and
to
I get
everybody.
strain every time. So
Yeah.
I do strain.
So another 10 minutes. So we're pushing close to an hour at this point, but not all the way there. But you still haven't heard anything. A few times while you're doing this, by the way, you hear the automaton move past you in the hallway out here. Sounds like it goes to the hole in the ground to the east. You hear like that same sort of strange, almost modem-like sound, and then it comes back and turns around again. So you hear it just sort of doing some kind of cycle and just moves around. So what do you guys want to do?
I think we want to set up a little system to get those devices we found earlier into the cart, so we can just get out of here.
Okay. So you found these. There were these 3, almost like they were like orbs, almost like computer monitors, but you can stick your head in them, and when you do so, it was almost like a 3D microscope. Like it kind of 3D projected something that your face could see when you stuck your head inside. Those were on the western side by one of the lava rooms.
There's a door right here, right?
Don't worry about moving the map at this point. We'll theater to mind it because there's gonna be too much moving around. So that's one thing that you want to do. That's gonna take a craft skill to break down, or to see how long it takes you to break down. So who wants to roll that craft?
Yeah, I can grab.
Yeah, go for it.
Could any of the tools that they have packed like help us?
Yeah, if you use a tool, you can take a +1.
Cool.
So there's like wrenches, sockets, spanners, chisels. There's like
They
these.
are now ours.
Yeah.
What skills that we use?
So the skill
attribute.
specifically would be craft. You can use intelligence to try to intelligence, or I would say dexterity. Either one of those would work, because one of them is about knowing where to break stuff down, and one of them's being able to do it deftly.
We got a 9.
DC 8. So yeah, it takes a little time to break these down, like about a half an hour. In that time, though, I need you to roll an evasion test, as within this room there was one of those pits of lava, and in the half an hour that it takes you to break these things down, there's a tiny little fire that goes up into the air. And as you're doing that, as you're breaking these down, you feel a bit of burn. And hang on a sec. You take 3 points of damage.
Oh, that burns. I'm gonna lose my hair.
But
Good
you're
thing we did it first aid.
but you're bald. But you're able to take the 3 of them. When you go out are you assuming? I'm assuming you're taking over their cart. You're stealing your second cart.
Yeah.
From people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be at the cart just in case Uso tries to come back.
So you're watching. That sounds good. What else do you guys want to try to do in terms of like salvaging up here? There's still the eastern side on the other eastern side of the building, on the other side of that big hole in the ground that you haven't looked at. There is a room upstairs that when you went to was locked and you couldn't open. So those are other places. And then there's the big room in the middle with like the glowing rock tubes and those big canisters where that poor man, something happened to him.
Yeah. Locked rooms are intriguing.
Yeah, he's ground beef now.
Okay. So if you go up to the locked room, it is locked, but it doesn't seem to be barred. Like it's there's some sort of mechanism. Do one of
I
you?
am not going to run at it with a shoulder because that
Chicken.
went poorly last time.
What are the chances that I do that to you again? Let's be honest. Like, what are the chances? So you go up to the second floor. No
Roll
problem.
luck, Jeff.
No, I know the chances 100%. I don't even have the roll luck. But you go up to the second floor. Okay. Do you want to try to physically break this thing down, Or do you want to
Yeah,
try
I'm gonna
to
go
like
with the kick that
Okay, just roll
Octavia
exert.
had recommended earlier.
Just roll exert. DC 6. If you do 8 or higher, it'll just look cool.
7. It does not look cool.
It doesn't look cool, but you get it down. It takes like 4 or 5 kicks, but eventually you're able to jury the door free from the track, and then you sneak your fingers in, and you and whoever else is with you can drag it open. When you open it up, there is just this immediate burst of dust that just comes into your face. Like this place hasn't been opened in quite some time. You see that everything around here is covered in a layer of this gray dust. You see that there are what looks like almost like spider webs in the corners here and there. But you see that there's these large tables, desks of some kind made out of what look like that same kind of plastic. You're not sure exactly what it is that you've seen elsewhere that has sustained itself for a significant period of time. Anything that's been stone, you've seen wear and tear, but anything that's been made out of this substance, whatever it is, has certainly maintained itself. But you see all sorts of casings around as well. And you can see that the casings are these long tubes, like poster tubes of some kind. And they look like they have like a little kind of twist off opening. You open one up, empty it out, and you got like a 3-foot long scroll, very delicate. But as you start to unfurl it, you can see the faintest little bit of like microcircuitry all over this parchment? Question mark.
Might you call it a schematic?
I might. It certainly seems like it. And you're able to recover 3 without kind of breaking them. You have 3 intact scroll casings of whatever this might be. Oh, flammable? The outside probably not, but the inside. Hell yeah. Definitely can use those for the torches, for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
So those I'm definitely taking. And was there anything else that looked valuable?
The table.
Days. I'm just giving you the credit for the room. Like that's
Okay.
what you would find.
Okay.
And then the only other place that you haven't gone is the eastern wing of the first floor. That's on the opposite side of that large pit.
Next up.
Do you want to go there?
down from upstairs to get there? Because we saw stairs before.
There's no stairs that would reach that room, though. You know that the long rectangular sides of the building, the stairs don't go into them. They go into hallways on the interior of them. So you would have to find some way to get across those holes, or just tell me what you want to try to do.
Okay, maybe we check that catwalk center place. Maybe we can pick up some scrap pieces to like make a bridge.
Okay. All right. I like that. So you take some scrap from that pile as best you can. And and you lay it out. Still is going to require you to do a small check because I would like one of you to fall to your deaths. I'm just going to be honest. So I'm going to say DC 6 if you're trying to get across to the eastern first floor room across I want a DC 6. Go ahead and we'll say exert dexterity to keep your balance going across.
Oh boy.
Oh
If you
no.
roll 2 1s.
Not before.
What is it with someone walking across?
Did you say what happens if you roll 2 1s?
You fall-
Because
no,
I rolled 2 1s.
You do
for
fall. But let's see how everybody else does. So Vice and Octavia, are you two going across?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Octavia's like,
dexterity.
now that I see Melissa has failed that, I don't think I'm going to. Okay.
All right,
Vice, you're
so-
fine. Okay. Octavia, we'll say, Vice, you're the first one to go across. You get across relatively easily. No, too old to twitch. They were sausage casings. That's correct. It was the thin, malleable sausage casings. It's from an automaton intestine. It's great. So, Vice, you're the first one across. Second one, you see Sonica moving, and as she does, She slips, she falls. Now she's hanging from this what looks like a sheet of one of the walkways you had flopped over, and she's kind of hanging from it. Octavia, as you step on to try to reach her, you slip and fall as well, but you're able to quickly stumble back onto the western side of the hole. But that causes the grating that you were using to snap, and it whips down. Sonika, you're like literally about 5 feet down from the edge, gripping onto the side of this, as far as you know, bottomless pit. What would you like to do? Let go, I assume?
No, I would like to. I'm loud whispering because I don't know who else is around. Like, guys,
Yeah.
guys.
You can go ahead and take 1 point of damage, by the way, from as like the swinging of the grating down to the other side. You just slam against it really hard and stick 1 point of damage.
See if I can help her up.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll say.
I'm gonna.
Would you say it had been an
Octavia,
hour
you're on the
before
western
this?
side. The walkway is broken.
far.
So yeah, at this point, you can go back and try to get something else to help her. But like,
That's what I was thinking. Like maybe the spikes or whatever.
okay,
Like,
so you split off by yourself to go find something
Yep.
to help them. So
Yep.
you go off back into the
By
depot
yourself.
with Tom. Gotcha.
to this room.
Oh, okay. Vice, what do you want to do?
Just help her up.
Yeah, just go around athletics with strength to try to pull her up. DC 6. If you roll 2d1s, both of you fall into the pit, and Octavia becomes a solo artist.
I know exert.
Exert, that's what I meant. Sorry. I always keep saying athletics when I mean exert. Yeah, you're able to pull her up. It's a little dicey and scary, but the two of you are now in the eastern room. Octavia, you come over, you see Sonika is being grabbed up, but at this point, you're kind of trapped on the other side.
Yeah, I'm just gonna chill
Okay. You hear doosh, doosh, doosh,
in the
doosh.
room though.
Okay.
I like to specify. I am not waiting for him to come back and look at the hole and do his and then turn around. Like,
Okay. So I will just.
or you know what? Even better, I want to be out with the animals. I'm watching the cart. I'm like, all right, y'all, have
down
fun.
with this sickness.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the last of these rooms that you and you're confident at this point, this is the final room in here. You see there's a couple holes. You're able to navigate them. I would say Sedowans, which is what Sonika is, you come from a species that is industrial, or industrious, I should say. And you're also familiar with sort of assembly line practicing. And this looks like this is some sort of assembly line setup. There's what looks like these two large cylinders in the southeast corner of the room. Some kind of like workplace area. You can see occasional sporadic lighting, almost like there's like these very thin laser lights that are shooting from one side to the next. And whenever they connect, you see both of those cylinders immediately light up pink. And then when they disconnect, they shut off. And it's almost as if there's a connection that's not breaking. You also notice in the south side of the room that there's another one of these ambler ant shoots, and you can actually see there's a group of ants that are eating away at the southernmost one of those cylinders, the base of it. And they're eating away. They don't seem to pay too much attention to you, but they're there. And they're all fist-sized ants. Let's see. What else can I give
Can
you?
still hear what they're saying?
I mean, if you stay by the edge of the hole, I'll say yes. But you said you were going back inside the
Yeah,
room.
I'm not
No.
within earshot of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Okay.
So there's no room to like get all the way on the east against the wall and shimmy down to the south.
No,
and
you're
therefore bypassing the hole.
you've already bypassed the hole. You're in the room.
No, I meant bypassing the ant hole thing.
You can move
You're gonna
around
ignore
it.
your metal.
Yeah. As long as you don't have any like juicy metal on you, they seem to be leaving you guys alone.
Okay. I want to keep going south and see what there is to see.
Well, this is the whole room. I gave you the whole room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just for expediency's sake, because I'm trying to get us to a better endpoint than where we're at right now. But
Is
yeah,
there anything in the machine that looks like we could like take it apart or
like in
come
the
back
machine
with-
itself?
Yeah, kind of like in the other one with the microscope things, we were able to kind of like get in there and take that out. Is there
Yeah,
anything
roll-
that's removable.
Yeah, it does look like there's these laser tubes. Like you can see that there's these emitters on either side of these cylinders that periodically, like one of them shoots like a visible violet pinkish light from one side to the next, and whenever it does, both cylinders light up, but these vertical cylinders light up, and you actually see movement of the track. You think you could potentially break those down
Okay.
and take some of those, like almost like halogen light bulbs, basically those long slender halogen light bulbs.
I would like to try.
Go ahead and roll a craft. If you have any kind of deft tool, like a screwdriver on you, which I imagine you bought.
We grabbed the tools
yeah.
from the other room.
You can take a +1 on this, and this one's going to be either Dex or it's going to be Int. However, if you fail it, you will break this. It's very delicate, and so this is a DC 6 to not break it.
How good are you at craft stuff there, Vice?
Quite. I craft things out of my bones often.
Maybe this is something you should try.
Yeah, you're able to.
Solid.
All right, so between the 3 like green computer thingies, you've got these 2, I'm just writing down, laser tubes. You've got 3 schematics, and you've got what look like some scrap on their wagon. You have a pretty good haul. So unless there's something more you specific, and there's plenty of other stuff in that big central room. There's probably a little bit more room in your cart if you wanted to take it. It is fairly late at this point too. It's late in the night.
Whenever they come back, I would like to like listen for where their automaton is, because I want to go back and grab my sword and shield.
Okay. Yeah, that's easy enough to do. You can probably, I mean, if you're listening, you can, it's following a circuit, like for sure.
Yeah.
And even if you interrupt the circuit, I would say you guys are all intelligent enough to realize as long as you're not demonstrating violence in its immediate vicinity, it kind of just ignores you. But if you're demonstrating violence in its immediate vicinity, it definitely does not like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess the question then I have for you is, do you guys camp out here? Do you try to fill up more scrap? Do you leave now?
I think it's a pretty good haul. We should get a move on.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to start leaving now.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. I'll say you guys can probably. I think the pen projector, I think they have on them.
Yeah, that is part of the haul.
Yeah, I have that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Oh, and I would also say that while you were breaking down the green orbs there, Vice, you also found like a little remote control thingy that seemed to move around some sort of green bit of light too that you might be able to play with as well. I have these in Foundry. I'll give them to you later. So you guys leave. Almost switches over to the hex map then. Do you want... You're not going to be able to retrace your steps exactly because you guys kind of shimmied through a very tight crevice to get here.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't necessarily work out too well.
2 cards.
You don't have 2 cards. You just have the one. You destroyed the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Other one
boulder.
got hit by the the Raiders of the Lost Ark boulder.
On our way back down, though, would we pass the old cart?
No, it was destroyed.
Can't go that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys.
The pieces of it that I can use for a torch.
Yeah, so right on that hex is where you guys encountered that falling boulder. And then into this hex is when you guys actually went through that tight cave and you guys were moving. So you know you can't go back that way. So you know most of the way, but you would have to go to a different hex. So you'd have to kind of explore a different hex today. But then you can kind of go back the way you came. So you really just, if you're just looking to get back as fast as you can with as little trouble as possible, you would just probably take the quickest path to get back to those tar fields that you found, and then you would be able to sort of work your way back, following your steps, getting back to
Okay.
the empty canal. So I'm just gonna roll one die to see how things work. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this privately.
No.
Oh.
Okay. So, we'll say that you're able to get out of the caldera,
Okay.
and you do find something relatively equating to like a highway, like a curved highway that's in patches. It's a little, and some of it is actually paved, and then other parts of it you can tell have been wrecked. And so some of the travel is quite quick, and then followed by incredibly slowed down moments where you have to be very careful about shifting the wagons. I'm not going to require rolls right now, but in the future, perhaps. And we'll say that you're able to get kind of out of the immediate caldera area by the time it gets pretty late. Now the question is then, do you guys want to push forward in the night, not take any rest, start to accrue some system strain, or do you want to like camp out here?
I think we pushed on earlier, so I think we were like forced to
Okay.
take a break.
Okay. So, go ahead and I want whoever you guys gonna, do you guys do a watch? I assume, like just in general.
Yeah.
All of you
Yeah,
go
we
ahead
should.
and roll a notice whiz while you're sleeping. Okay. Octavia, on your shift, you hear something. You hear what sounds first like something charging up, like, and then you hear like these long, loopy crescendos, like, woot, woot, woot. I'm just making all sorts of weird noises.
Okay.
And then you see about 100 yards away, further down the slope, but then what looks to be in a kind of an intersection of two ruins of buildings and also what looks like a street intersecting them, you see suddenly it lights up. It's bright as can be. It's like this lavender color, this light blue color. And it's about 100 yards away on a slight downward slope, and it's just a ton of light, and there's movement down there. It's hard to see from the specific movement this far away, but you can see there's figures moving around, and there's noise as well coming from that direction.
Are they coming at us at all?
Doesn't appear to be, no.
Then I'll just keep watching to make sure that they don't.
Okay. All right. So you watch, and over the course of probably about 2 hours, it just continues to all sorts of sounds emit. Lights continue. And then after the third hour, you can see it, and then starts to power down, and the lights flicker out.
Okay.
And that's probably the end of your shift.
Yeah.
When
I'll let whoever has the next shift know like what I saw, and then I'm like, I'm not dealing with it. Good luck. And then
Vice, she tells you you're the next up. And since you know what you're looking for, about 2 hours into your shift, you hear and then all sorts of these lavender and light blue lights erupt down in the exact area that Octavia pointed out to. You hear the sound, like in sort of muffled white noise like sounds coming from there. You can see shapes moving around, and that's about it.
As long as it's not getting closer, I'll just ignore it.
Okay. So after a couple hours, and then Sonika, you're woken up. Vice, do you tell her?
Yeah, there's some pretty lights down there, but I haven't done anything.
Okay. And almost as if perfect timing, 2 hours into your shift, and and then the same deal happens and then shuts down. And at that point, all of you are kind of waking up in the morning after your rest. Do you guys head back? You can see off directly to your west, down at the bottom of the slope, you can see the same tar fields that you had come through. And at that point, you feel fairly confident you can pick up your trek backwards.
I want to take, like, if it's possible to take like 20 minutes and go see what that thing was in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you pack up, you work your way down, and you kind of have a feeling now for the cycle of how long it's going to take. And you wait around for about 10, 15 minutes, and you guys don't necessarily have watches, but you probably tell time by the many suns and crap that's up in our sky. And you hear and then all of a sudden the entire area, as you're a little bit closer now, illuminates, and you can see that there's all sorts of like lavender and light kind of teal colored colors coming out in all sorts of different directions. It seems to drape over one of the buildings down here and all throughout like this road out in front. You guys watch as, now that you're closer, you can see that the shapes that are moving about are bipedal creatures. You can see that they have short, stocky legs. You can see that they have really long arms. You can see that they have torsos and they have heads shaped. They look just like the automatons. And as you're watching and you hear different like white noise sounds happen, you see them flicker. And they almost look holographic as they periodically come and they connect to one another. You hear like something is emitting sound, even though they flicker into like holographic dissonance. You also notice that they seem to have, some of them anyway, seem to have these orbs that are kind of rotating around their moon-shaped heads. And whenever they intersect with one another, when two of them come and you see almost as if these orbiting things kind of break those orbits, shift, move on to the other creature, and then like almost like they're exchanging it. What do you guys want to do with that information that I just gave you?
Is any knowledge on that besides they look like the automaton?
They're shaped in the same thing, but they just look like silhouettes. There's like a lavender violet silhouette or a teal silhouette. Like they're moving around in kind of a more fluid fashion than the automaton, which was more, though their physical shapes seem to be the same. And you can see a few of them when they reach the edge of this lit up area. You can see they just flicker out and disappear. Others seem to move into the illuminated ruin as well, and you can actually see through like a window or a break in the wall where these images are moving around as well.
Do we notice like like what's projecting them? Like, can we identify the point of origin?
Roll. So if you're staying away, roll. You can roll notice whiz, but this is going to be a DC 10.
Okay, I'll try from far away, and then Octavia will probably want to get closer.
Okay, that's fine.
7.
You can't tell from this distance, yeah.
Guys, it's like that. It's like my pen like thing. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, what if we brought that back?
Sonika, from a distance, you can see that there's something that there's these flickering emitters in the ground. That whenever you see a slight interruption in the silhouettes of these figures, there's also a slight flickering from one of those lenses embedded into the ground.
So what do you think? Should we wait for them to power down and try to snag one of those emitters?
Okay, we can take a close look.
Or do you want to go in while they're still up?
It's just a machine, and they're not real, right? It's just a projection.
Ashley, you're muted.
I'm muted. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I had a personal experience with an automaton, and like I would not like a repeat of that. So Octavia's vote is to wait until they power down to see if we can still access them or not.
Okay. What do the two of you say? What are your votes?
I'm still a bit confused. These are just projections. They're not actual like.
That's what it looks like. They're just, it's like literally a solid silhouette of lavender, a solid silhouette of teal, and they're moving about. They're in the same shape. They have the really long arms, the short legs. They have the kind of moon-shaped head they have the same shape as the automaton, but they move much more with more grace. And they're just singular colors. You don't see like eyes, you don't see clothes. It's just like a shadow that's lavender and that's moving about.
If you want to go touch it, go ahead. I will watch. Octavia's a simple woman. She's been hurt once. Maybe if you're in danger, she'll come running in.
Yeah. My vote is waiting till they power down.
All right, I'll just leave it alone then.
Okay. So you wait, and on a timer, it shuts down. And you know you have 45 minutes to an hour before the whole cycle begins again. The noises begin. There's a little bit of time between when the noises start and the light emission begins to happen. But you got about 45 minutes to an hour.
We'll get closer and.
Okay, so you move closer in. And it just looks like the ruins of, it's got the, whatever the building materials were of the military depot, kind of a mix of the stone and this other substance. You see broken glass here and there as well. You can see there's this huge chunk of the ground that is flat and relatively smooth, but it's certainly suffered some wear and tear. And you can see that there's complex circuitry all over. It's like you're walking on a motherboard. And you can, with that 10 that Sonica had, you can point, there's 3 different emitters right here on the outside. And then you also know that there's a ruin nearby, and there looks to be 2 other emitters built into the floor of that are barely viewable, as a bunch of the roof has fallen and collapsed, and it's covering most of the floor other than this small portion where these 2 little emitters were.
Try to dig up a couple of emitters to take back with us.
Okay. Craft.
I can do that.
Craft intelligence or craft X. It's fine. If you haven't figured it out, craft is going to be fairly useful. DC 8, by the way. Sorry.
3. Nice.
Okay. Everyone sort of picks their own to work on. Sonica, are you going to roll as well? Okay. So all 3 of you pick a different emitter. And you divvy up the tools, and you're just trying to disconnect. All of you have like you've lived in Big Husk. You've messed around with some of this tech. You have some familiarity with it, like, but you're not experts in this. The experts usually the Cabochon, they're melodronic like laborers and stuff that try to keep a fairly close eye on who's bringing tech back, because they want to know about it. Like, they're filtering all of it through them before they let it disperse out to like the larger groups that are living within the city, for reasons. They say for safety. Not everyone agrees. So while the 3 of you are messing around, Sonica, you get the screwdriver, you manage to separate a few of the connectors, and you're able to pop it right out, and you have yourself 1 projector lens. Okay. It's not just a lens. There's like a little machine that's attached to the back of it. Vice and Octavia, while you are doing this and you're trying to break it, you see the light of the emitter suddenly flicker, and you hear and it suddenly bursts. Octavia, suddenly standing right in front of you, is this lavender silhouette of the same creature that I've described before that is looking down on you.
God.
You're on your hands and knees messing around with this thing, and this thing's about 8 feet tall, and it's looking down at you. And you can see the swirling thing around its head. Weiss, a few feet away, you're doing the same thing, and this teal pops up, and you can see the same thing sort of spinning around as looking down, and both of them, almost in sync, reach down, and you feel like a coldness on the back of your head, back of your necks, as they grab you, like you might grab the scruff of a cat or a dog, and then you feel them just sort of push into the back of your neck, and their arms just, and suddenly they start to dive into you until the entirety of these silhouettes are gone. And when you look back down, the emitter that you've been working on, little tiny bits of smoke are coming back up. I need both of you to make mental saves. Or a sand roll. If you want to do sand, that works too, but it's mental save is the closest approximation.
Automaton in my body.
Nope.
Success.
Okay. Weiss, you feel this overwhelming, intense headache as your brain it just doesn't work anymore. It's just a little bit of blood starts to trickle down your eye, down your nose, out your ear, and you collapse to the ground, and you're like having a seizure. Octavia, you feel it as well, but you're kind of able to shake it off a little bit more. The pain is the most intense pain you've ever felt probably in your life. Lasts about 20 seconds, and in that 20 seconds you endure it. Weiss, however, couldn't endure it and collapses over unconscious. You go over and you check him. He's breathing, he's alive, but he's like shaking a bit.
Octavia wants to try and talk to it.
Okay. Talk to what? You don't see anything anymore.
I know, but Octavia's like, there's something in my body.
Got it.
So she's like, hey, dude, totally cool that we are cohabiting this vessel that I have. What's your name? If you can hear me, like, that would be very cool. Like, I love friends.
You get, unfortunately, as much as I want this to work, it doesn't. There's so many things that Octavia does. I'm like, I wanted to and be like, hey, what's up? Thanks.
Can we
just crash in here for a bit if that's cool?
I want like a himbo roll. Like, does my himbo give me bonus? That's what I want.
Unfortunately, nothing happens to you as you say that out loud. Sonika, you come back over. You're carrying this elongated bulb and like this, got this polyhedral machine attached to the end of it. You see Weiss on the ground.
Sonika.
What happened?
Don't let them touch you because they go in your body.
Okay.
So maybe I'm gonna, and then like I want to pick up Weiss, and like I've got him like over my shoulder, and I'm just kind of like patting his back like he's an infant.
Aww.
And I'm gonna like walk back to the cart, like, dude, that was so weird. I wish I was napping right now, but like, weird. Okay. And I'm gonna tuck him in with the birds.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you linger here?
The meat eater. No.
Weiss is a moon gorilla now. I like how this whatever this is now a moon gorilla. I'm okay with that terminology. Should make that canon.
All I can think of is that like retro like Pepsi commercial with like the dude with the piano with the big old moon head.
Oh yeah.
That's what my brain's thinking.
The
head part.
You're definitely in the ballpark with that. Okay, so do you linger here?
No.
You get the hell out?
Absolutely
okay.
not.
Do you head for the tar pit area and try to retrace your steps? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After about an hour, we'll say you get there, and at that point, Weiss wakes up. Weiss, you feel like you're hungover.
Oh, my head is splitting.
But you're okay nonetheless.
Or so he thinks.
And you guys, since you're just looking to get, are you just looking to get home as fast as you can?
I mean,
please.
Octavia would love to see our friend again.
Okay. You do know where it is, and I even put it on the map. So on the map, it's called the Meadowlands.
Yeah.
Get it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Ashley or Long gets it because
I did not.
they're not sports ball people. But yeah.
What's a sport, Jeff?
So the New York Jets and the
What's a
Giants, they
ball?
play in a stadium called the Meadowlands, and I call it the Meadowlands. It's a joke. Don't worry about it, because there's, plants.
10 points to Jeff.
The Meadowlands, yeah, Meadowlands. Okay, so I'm just gonna roll something really quick. Don't worry about what I'm rolling. It's totally fine. Okay. Your journey is actually relatively uneventful. You arrive back at the large bridge that takes you through these large pylon tower kind of projectors that creates this wall that encases the interior section of Big Husk, where everyone basically lives at this point, except for those who have said, the hell with Big Husk, we're going elsewhere, whether it's the waste districts or further north. And you stroll into town late at night. It's dark, but there are various lights on, and we'll go ahead and deal with the consequences and ramifications of your trip next episode. But you do make it back to Big Husk, not dead. So there's that. And that's what
so
we'll end.
disappointed.
That you're not dead.
Vengeance was not had.
I could kill you right now.
No, the being alive part is good.
Okay. Go ahead and
I
close that
mean,
down.
in a way, you took all his stuff, so it's a little bit vengeful.
I mean, I sicked some ants on him for like one round, but it didn't quite get the
It went fine.
good feeling I was hoping for.
What were you hoping for specifically? To kill him or something?
Well, yeah.
Wow, that's so bloodthirsty. That's so
Now-
bloodthirsty.
Now the rage can just continue to boil.
Okay.
So
Oh, you're gonna put it on
and-
simmer.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
All right, so we're gonna close it down. Thank you for those of you who hung out and watched us tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you for those of you who later on YouTube or on Twitch VOD are watching this there as well. We appreciate you watching there. Let us know what you think. Drop a note in the comments or something if you're watching this later. Do you have a better name for the Moon Gorillas? Does a better name for Moon Gorillas exist? I don't think so, but I could be wrong. So give that a look. Other things we're doing on our channel on Mondays, you can catch us playing Alien. So in a couple days, we're back playing Free League, their version of Alien role-playing game, and where I'm collecting arms and kidneys. It's great. Next Friday, I hope we're going to be back to Delta Green, starting up Chapter 2. So you can catch us at 8 Central next Friday, hopefully starting Chapter 2. And then we'll be back on Saturday playing more Wolves Without Number, our Welcome to the Husk campaign. For now, I think we're going to go ahead and raid somebody so we can get you some more wonderful ttrpg stuff. I was going to do... Is Diesel Shot up? Are they playing something or are they just chatting? Go ahead and raid Diesel Shot. Looks like they are playing something. So we're going to go ahead and give our friends at Diesel Shot a raid. They have a Kickstarter going on right now for their Change Stars game that we played last night. We have it over on our YouTube channel if you want to watch what Space Jersey is like. And if you want to see pasta sauce,
they're running Space Jersey.
Unrequited love, all sorts of wonderful things. So just hang out for a minute for that raid, and we will catch you hopefully on Monday for Alien. And if not, we'll see you next week for more of Welcome to the Husk. So good night, everybody.